The Arya dude is a huge propagandist for the Iranian state. Don't trust them. You're not wrong, for the record. You are absolutely correct on that. But it's, of course, important to get the other side's perspective in this matter. What are you talking about? Of course, I'm literally only watching American media. Every now and then, in the overwhelming sea of Israeli media that I'm watching, I'm going to listen to what the Iranian side is saying as well. Like to have that in the congressional record. Dubai airport has reportedly been hit in the latest Iranian attacks against the UAE. Press reporting on the ground damage in Tel Aviv.
Saturday night around 11.
The fact that this is the Israeli government allowing this reporting to go through means that there's a reason for it. Okay? There's a reason for it. If they're showing these strikes, that means that their retaliation is going to be incredibly severe. Okay? That means that their retaliation is going to be far more severe, and they're trying to create a reason for it to showcase themselves as like the victims here. Because under different circumstances, Israel has not allowed there to be any reporting on impact sites because it greatly diminishes confidence in the Iron Dome. So the very fact that they have this in English too means that they're going to go nutty mode next time around.
PM, we're here on scene in the central district of Israel. You can see behind me there is...
They literally made it illegal to show this stuff last time around in the 12-day war. I just want to let you know. Okay? This was illegal. They never allowed... If you remember, there were American reporters on scene. Trey Yinks was pushed away by the Israeli occupational forces and stopped from filming one of the impact sites. This is probably because it's a residential area. That's part of the reason why they're showing it. They don't show the military... they don't show strike zones, impact zones, if it's actually a military target, even if it's in a residential neighborhood. This is in English. It's very suspicious. I'm just letting you know. There's a reason for why you're seeing this.
Severe strike that hit a building complex.
Iran is produced iron, not iron. Okay, good one.
We're still currently working now with the other forces on the field to make sure that we can take out the fire. And we're still extracting at this moment patients from both buildings you can see behind me. We're still working on the buildings that are surrounded and are still ablaze.
Have you found any trusted sources denying or confirming Khamenei? The Iranian government is not the most reliable when it comes to stuff like this. They're saying that that's not the case, that Khamenei is still alive. The Israeli sources, especially when it comes to high-profile targets, high-profile assassinations, are fairly reliable. They're fairly consistent. I would, if I were to weigh the responses, I would say that the Israeli response is probably accurate. I don't know. Donald Trump is coping, doing the media blitz right now, saying it's pretty much over. At this stage, maybe we can get an interview with Donald Trump. He's calling every goddamn news outlet he possibly can to be like, no, it's great. It's great. We're great. We're doing great. I promise you. Things are great. Believe it. Okay. But judging by the Trump response, it's probably the exact opposite. If he says it's good, that means it's not good. I talked to the president over the phone a short while ago and asked him how long U.S. military operations against Iran will go on. How long do you think this will last? As long as we want it to, actually, but it's done such damage already. It's like they are incapacitated, essentially. I asked them what happens next if the regime fails. What do you think the next leadership looks like? Have you identified anybody? Trump, yes, we have a very good idea. Who, how? He did not elaborate beyond that. New attacks, fresh attacks on Tel Aviv. We're going live to the Tel Aviv right now. There's some interceptions that took place, it seems. God damn it. The AP cameras are so ass, though. They, like, literally avoid showing the impact. Would you throw on a MAGA hat? The question every journalist should ask Donald Trump is, you said if the Ayatollah is dead, that the Iranian regime is cratered, or the Iranian regime is incapacitated. Why are they still attacking American bases in the region and also Israel? Why are the Iranians not up in arms as you suggested previously? How much weight do you place on Israeli intelligence? These are some good questions to ask the Trump administration. How much weight do you place on Israeli intelligence as opposed to your own internal communique Your generals have informed you that, and the CIA reporting, according to Reuters, informed you that there is no day after plan, and that there is no day after plan, and that the Ayatollah will not actually yield the response, or will not actually yield the results that you thought it would. As the president stated, our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. The president ordered bold action. CENTCOM forces are delivering an overwhelming and unrelenting blow. There's also reports of a U.S. ship being struck, but I don't know how reliable that is. Iran's IRGC announces fifth wave of TP4 U.S. targets were a U.S. MSP supply ship near Jebel Ali. Reportedly, the ship's been disabled with 4 Iranian drones suffering heavy damage. The ship supplies U.S. military ships. The U.S. base in Kuwait hit with 4 ballistic missiles and 12 drones with confirmed casualties. A U.S. MSD-class combat support vessel serving as a fuel tanker in the Indian Ocean struck with Qatar 380 missiles. Iran says the strikes caused heavy damage and losses. This is from 6 minutes ago from the IRGC. The number of injuries in Tel Aviv have reached to 20 people. Some 20 people were wounded by the Iranian ballistic impact in Tel Aviv, according to the first responders. Among them is 1 person in critical condition, 1 in serious condition, and 2 in moderate condition. The fact that the Ayatollah posted, yeah, this doesn't mean anything. In the name of the exalted Haider, peace be upon him, that doesn't really mean anything. Anyone could post on his profile. I will say, our only frame of reference right now is to compare this to the 12-day war. And in comparison to the 12-day war, they are much faster at striking targets in Tel Aviv. In the 12-day war, it took a couple days for them to be able to successfully penetrate the Iron Dome, especially with like they were using. They used a lot of older equipment. They used a lot of drones. The drones are super slow, easy to intercept. This time around, they came in hot, and they haven't really ceased in their barrage of. The Arya dude is a huge propagandist for the Iranian state. Don't trust them. You're not wrong, for the record. You are absolutely correct on that. But it's, of course, important to get the other side's perspective in this matter. What are you talking about? Of course, I'm literally only watching American media. Every now and then, in the overwhelming sea of Israeli media that I'm watching, I'm going to listen to what the Iranian side is saying as well. Okay? It's crazy. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. But yes, I am aware. Thank you for informing me.
You're going to see behind us, we got to move. There's a lot of incoming fire right now toward Tel Aviv. And so just stay with us. We got to go. Our security. So we're going to stay live with you, but we got to move toward hard cover here. The city's getting hit very hard. Come with me. And you're going to see behind us, we got to move. There's a lot of incoming fire right now.
Can you pray for me? I live in Qatar. If you lived in Qatar, what would you do as Qatar's in the middle of everything going on? I would demand that you have no real democratic power here, but I would demand that the kingdom remove the U.S. bases. No more CENTCOM. Good luck. Yeah, Trump is calling it. There's also an emergency UN session happening right now. What are they going to do? Condemnations?
Destabilization.
Yeah, this shit doesn't matter to me at all, brother. I might as well be watching. I might as well tune into like the Hutchinson broadcast to see what his take is on America and Israel striking Iran, you know? Oh no. The United Nations. What's next, dude? Are you going to send me another stern letter that China wrote about how this impedes trade maxing somehow? Every single dumbass Euroid leader came out and said, oh, how joyous of a day this is that America is striking another sovereign nation. Literally. Who takes over if the Ayatollah is dead? Another Ayatollah. Ayatollah is a position. There are three in the line of succession that were picked in secret before the 12-day war, because the current Ayatollah, or the former, potentially, Ayatollah, who is 86 years old, recognized that Israel was probably going to do a decapitation strike. It didn't happen in the last 12-day war. But it happened this time potentially, allegedly, Donald Trump came out and said, Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. This is not only justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans and those people from many countries throughout the world that have been killed or mutilated by Khamenei and his gang of bloodthirsty thugs. He was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems, and working closely with Israel, there was not a thing he or the other leaders that have been killed along him could do. This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. This is the remainder of their strike package, by the way. Oh, we killed the Ayatollah. It's time to take the streets, right? That's why they're heavily leaning into this, like, we killed your leader. Come on, go ahead. Now is the time to rise up, Iran. Okay? The head of Iran's Unified Combatant Command, Major Ali General Abdullahi, has released an audio statement saying that Trump should know that this time it is not up to him to end the war, and that the U.S. Israel must receive a teeth-breaking response. We are awaiting another salvo of missiles that are incoming. But in any case, let's continue with this. This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. We're hearing that many of their IRGC military and other security and police forces no longer want to fight and are looking for immunity from us. As I said last night, now they can have immunity. Later on, they only get death. Hopefully, the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to the greatness it deserves. There's 0% chance he believes this, right? Like it's just like, does he think that the IRGC is not even more aggressive hardliners than even the fucking Ayatollah? Recent reporting by the New York Times and Reuters indicates Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei entrusted Larijani with wartime contingency planning and safeguarding the Islamic Republic's political structure in the event of major escalations of leadership assassinations. What did Ali Larijani say? The guy who the Ayatollah put in charge if he was to be killed? Let's hear from Ali Larijani. We will make the Zionist criminals and the shameless Americans regret their actions. The brave soldiers and the great nation of Iran will deliver an unforgettable lesson to the hellish international oppressors. I don't know. I don't know how much smoke this is. I don't know if this is smoke and mirrors. Wait, what is this? Is this another one? 2 interceptors swing and miss. Oh, no. Ooh. Good attempt, though. That's good. I mean, tax dollars at play. Tax dollars at play. Tax dollars at play, folks. Let's watch that again. Where are they running? I don't know what they're going to do if... I don't know where they're going to go. Are the interceptors... Yeah, a lot of you guys are joking, but this is no joking matter. Interceptors only miss their target if they're feeling anxious, okay? Like, this only famously happens if interceptors are feeling very anxious, very nervous. And I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny that you guys are laughing at American tax dollars at play, being lit on fire. This is performance anxiety. Especially after the 12-day war performance, like, they're very nervous, the interceptors are. How would you do in their stead? Really, how would you do? I bet you wouldn't also perform as well as the interceptors are. Have you thought about maybe the fact that these interceptors are Hamas? Have you thought about that? Not laughing now, are you? Yeah. Your empathy is insane. I'm a very empathetic person. Exactly. I can even demonstrate empathy for faceless, lifeless interceptor missiles that my tax dollars paid for. Yeah. There's more to the Trump statement. He confirms he will do heavy bombing until peace, peace, peace through bombs. Oh, I forgot to finish the Trump statement because we were looking at the guy in charge, if Ali Khamenei is actually dead. Why are you making jokes right now, bro? This all leading to a large regional war. What do you want me to fucking say, man? What do you want me to do? Cry all day? The fuck do you want? If I'm angry, everyone goes, oh, you're bent. You're fucking mad. You're mad. If I make a joke every now and then over the course of the last 6 fucking hours, you're like, why are you making jokes? What am I supposed to do? Die? Jesus Christ. I paid for it. I'm watching it happen. Yeah, I'll cry I bawl, okay? I'll cry my fucking eyes out every time the poor nation state of Israel, which literally demanded this happen, faces a fraction of the consequences of its actions that it's like dishing out to the entire fucking planet with my tax dollars. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is what I say.
Legalize comedy.
I'm stoic. That's what it is. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, hopefully the RGC police, all this stuff. The process should soon be starting in that not only the death of Khamenei, but the country has been in only one day very much destroyed and even obliterated. The heavy and pinpoint bombing, however, will continue uninterrupted throughout the week or as long as necessary to achieve our objective of peace through the Middle East and indeed the world. Thank you for, so he's going to continue bombing Iran. He's like, oh, if you guys don't, it's literally exactly as I said. Remember earlier when I said they're going to tune up the dial of death and destruction if the Iranians don't respond? It's basically the same process as the sanctions where it's like, we'll starve you until you kill your leaders. Okay, now that we've killed your leaders, we'll bomb you until you've killed the rest of the leaders. And if you don't actually kill your leaders, we'll just bomb you harder. The bombing will continue. Some of you are going to die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. I mean, he literally said American soldiers are going to die in the process, and that's a risk he's willing to take. So, of course, he doesn't give a fuck about brown people. Let's be real now. If Iran had nukes, why not use them with their supreme leader dead? But it looks like they will start bombing the oil fields. Wait, what? Who said Iran has nukes? No one thinks Iran has nukes. If America thought Iran had nukes, they wouldn't be bombing Iran. That's kind of the whole point.
At the senior level right up to the supreme leader, but there are other levels that remain, and there are others who could then slide into those positions. Do they have the same power? Does the regime together have the same strength and wherewithal to remain in power, to exercise power inside its country, around the region? Those are open questions. And also, what would the U.S. be willing to accept, right, if this does not topple the regime, if the people don't rise up and do it themselves? Would the U.S., for instance, be willing to accept someone from inside the regime, a la what we saw in Venezuela, right? You remove Nicolas Maduro and Delcy Rodriguez moves in. There's no Delcy Rodriguez equivalent in Iran, but what would the
You want to know why that won't happen? Because Israel, that's why. No, that won't happen. Unless it's literally like Mike Huckabee that they plant in charge of Iran, which the Iranian population will obviously revolt against, which you need military intervention at that point, unless there is literally like Reza Pahlavi or something, which again will require boots on the ground to defend. It's not happening because Israel doesn't trust any Iranian to run the country. Israel doesn't want sovereignty in Iran.
And held enormous power inside Lebanon. It backed up the awful Assad regime in Syria before it fell, which carried out just years and years of crimes against its own people, bloody crackdown. Of course, it backed Hamas, which has attacked Israel repeatedly, most notably on October 7th. It backs the Houthi rebels in Yemen, which has been disrupting shipping in the Red Sea. But specifically from a U.S. perspective, during his reign, it was Iran that was supplying those.
Dude, we are the bad guys. We're watching the bad guys news story. Okay, we are literally watching the bad guy news channel. Okay, like think about their perspective. It's like, oh well, the devastating attacks that Iran contributed to with October 7th. It's like no mention of Israel's apartheid, no mention of Israel's genocide. Like that's an afterthought.
I would just say against his own people, multiple bloody crackdowns against the Iranian people. That's what his leadership was for the country and for the region.
Jem Sciutto, as always, it is good to have you to put that in context.
The stories that matter.
This whole area.
Is he dead or not? Why so much contradicting news? There's a very high likelihood that he's dead. But again, that really doesn't change the dynamic from the perspective of like the Iranian government continue to retaliate against Israel, right? There's a very low likelihood, but there's still a likelihood that he might not be dead. But like, if he's not dead, like, okay, Iran is still retaliating. If he is dead, okay, Iran is still retaliating. Do you see what I'm saying? America would at least need a fighting force to support, like in Afghanistan. That shit won't happen like this. Yeah, there's no amount of bombing. You don't have popular mobilized forces on the ground. You can't use the Kurdish militias to fucking control the Iranian government, right? Like, that would be fucking insane. And the only, like, robust popular mobilization you can engage with on the ground is the Kurdish militias that would, like, come in from Iraq, which I believe they did. They were pushing in, or they had that sort of ambition, which is why a lot of the IRGC troop positioning moved in the direction of the Kurdish areas, because they were worried about a potential invasion. But there's no world that you have a stable government in Iran that's a puppet state. Iranian people do not fuck with that. Okay, love the crash out, dude. The Epstein cabal is lighting your tax money on fire. You will never actually have a moment of respite. And your only analysis here is that a guy that you don't like on the internet, because he thinks that money should be spent on you instead, by the way, that's the reason why I'm angry. Your only fucking assessment here is, oh, guy on Twitch is mad. You're a fucking idiot, dude. Literally, you are a slave, chatter. Explain to me, to the best of your fucking ability, how striking Iran is going to lead to any positive outcome in your life. Go ahead. I'm waiting for your response. Explain to me how your pathetic life is going to get better. Bombing and murdering little schoolgirls in Iran to own the libs, I guess. America is led by a pedophilic cabal. And you're over here being like, nah, this time is good, actually. The pedophilic cabal's grand desire in murdering school children is actually going to be so good. Plot twist, he lives in Israel, so the tax money actually goes to him. Well, it's not. I just love the crash out low. I actually agree with you. Okay. Shia Iraqis are celebrating in Dearborn where Saddam was executed. Not even 10 years later, ISIS was taking slaves and killing Shia. It took 3 to 4 solid years before it was crystal clear that Iraq was a complete clusterfuck and a mistake. Just very odd that this stuff is repeatedly memory hold. I remember Tariq Ali being shouted on question time for not supporting the invasion by an Iraqi. Yeah. The fact that people still point to post-war Japan and Germany as examples of regime turnarounds 80 years later shows how unusual it is in the modern era. That was after the use of nukes and tens of millions dead. From U.S. admin official background briefing, recording, listening to seriously question if U.S. negotiators understood what Iranians were proposing. One official kept saying the acronym IAEA wrong, the International Atomic Energy Agency, by the way. They seem astonished Iran would not agree to the U.S. supplying them nuclear fuel. They took as suspicious proposals that Iran saw as concessionary. Explains why Oman foreign minister tried to come to D.C. to explain what U.S. negotiators may not have fully understood. I'm not saying what Iran proposed would have been enough. I don't know, but it seems U.S. negotiators did not have the expert guidance to understand it correctly. Lack of experienced experts in the U.S. team means they were seemingly relying on outside sources to interpret it for them. I will tell you from my own suspicions with my conversation with Ro Khanna, by the way, earlier, that they are very worried about having this come across as like Israel's war. America's fighting Israel's war. Why are they worried about this? Because back in the day, that's what Pat Buchanan used to say. Okay? It is seen by especially the old guard in both the media and also in the political class as an anti-Semitic canard. Unfortunately for them, it's objective reality, right? And I do I am very careful with the language that I use. And also on top of that, will routinely explain how this has become Israel's war, rather than just simply say like, oh, we invaded Iraq because of Israel or whatever the fuck, right? Like, was that good for Israel? Yes. Was America still at the, behind the wheel in that endeavor? Absolutely. The reason why I say this is Israel's war is because America demonstrated an alternative perspective with Iran, and it was cast aside, right? Not only is this the populist attitude, but it's also the correct one. It's kind of like how neoliberals would regularly say, oh, you fool, you simpleton, saying we invaded Iraq for oil is stupid. It doesn't actually explain the full scope. Except we did invade Iraq for oil. That was a major component, okay? So anyone that tries to disparage that is a fucking idiot. And the same goes for saying this is Israel's war. This doesn't mean I'm not abdicating the responsibility from the hands of the American administration. I certainly am not doing that. They are fucking monsters, okay? This administration and the duopoly on the issue of how to deal with Iran, the military intervention in Iran for regime change, is conducted by monsters, okay? It's still a collaborative effort. The reality on the matter, the reality on the other hand, is that the monsters that are holding on to the fucking steering wheel here are the Israeli ones. Okay? That's it. There was no ambition to negotiate with Iran. That was never in play. That was never real. We 100% were going along with whatever the fuck Israel wanted to do. And anyone that doesn't recognize that picture is going to give you the wrong analysis. Okay? I will say this much, though. Shockingly, I am receiving, in spite of the fact that we have 60,000 people on the Twitch stream and another 26,000 watching on the YouTube stream. Shouts out to YouTube, by the way. Please like the YouTube stream. I would like it very much if you were to hit that like button and also subscribe to the YouTube stream. But despite the fact that there are so many people watching right now, the number of people that are in here being like, oh, get fucked, libtard, we're owning the Ayatollah, or whatever the fuck, is very marginal. This is anecdotal, of course, but it leads me to believe that the propaganda apparatus is not working as intended. A lot of people are so angry at Israel in general that it kind of feels as though people are not buying what the American government is selling here. It's quite a difficult thing to sell to the American masses that keep hearing over and over again that you don't have enough money to fix the potholes. You don't have enough money to fix the fucking healthcare system. You don't have enough money to fix the education. You don't have enough money to get better broadband, better infrastructure, better services from the government. But when it comes down to defending Israel, we will fucking move mountains. Okay? We will move mountains. Netanyahu's plane, Wings of Zion, landed in Berlin. He is no shot. Nah, no way. He did not run away to Germany. I mean, Greece, I understand, even though it's in striking distance of Iran. But Germany? The ICC warrant. They said he did that last time, but I don't think he did. I don't think this is real, man. That's crazy. Especially considering that the European Union, I mean, it's over at that point. You might as well go to Davos, you know what I mean? Like, what is the ICC warrant worth? Nothing. Nothing at all. The ICC warrant is not worth the paper it was written on. You can't even wipe your ass with that shit. Maybe it's a pump fake. Here's the comparison of polling with support for the Iraq war versus this. 72% of Americans were in support of military action in Iraq in 2003 versus at the beginning of the attacks against Iran, it's only 34%. And that's after. That's like 1 day after. That number will grow for the record. But it's crazy that a 45% opposition, a plurality opposition still exists. If Big Yahoo stepped foot in Greece, he would be turned into a campfire story. Okay, dude. Are you live on YouTube? I can't find your stream. I am live on YouTube, yes.
Today's military strikes by the United States and Israel mark a catastrophic escalation in an illegal act of war, of aggression. Bombing cities, killing civilians, opening up a new theater of war. Americans do not want this. Americans do not want another war in pursuit of regime change. We want an answer to the affordability crisis. We want peace. Now, I may be a young mayor, but I am old enough to remember the devastating consequences of our country's pursuit of regime change in this same region not that many years ago. Now, my focus is on keeping New Yorkers safe. I've been in close contact with our police commissioner and emergency management officials. We are increasing agency coordination as well as patrols of sensitive locations out of an abundance of caution. And additionally, I want to speak directly to Iranian New Yorkers. You are a part of the fabric of this city. You are our students, our artists, our small business owners, our neighbors, our community leaders. You will be safe here.
Okay. You kind of.
How cooked are we with Pakistan and Afghanistan fighting too? I don't fucking know, man. Here's a wider shot of the Tel Aviv skyline. Bro, I don't want to see it. Okay? I'm seeing no movement, no motion. Yes, yes, yes. The Burj Al Arab hotel has been struck by an Iranian drone. It's on fire. I know. What Trumpers are feeling? Bro, what the fuck? If you still support Trump after starting a new war, you are an ignorant shit for brains sycophant who loves being lied to. You'd believe anything you're told and are enabling the most corrupt president to do whatever Israel demands. What the fuck? No one wants this shit. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I just don't know if it's I haven't seen enough as far as like Trump supporters speaking out against this yet. So I don't know. Settlers angry in Tel Aviv screaming something about auto bus on fire. Senior Trump administration officials telling me that credible intelligence indicated Iran planned preemptive. Oh, come on. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Have any of these wars ever benefited the U.S.? Fuck you, Bradley. I mean, Bradley pulled out the ripcord on Trump far before many did. Let's be real, but it's true. A lot of people, including Cenk, even at some point, hit that line about how Trump is going to be like a peaceful dove and shit. I mean, I can't even fuck. It's unbelievable, dude. She still made the war about Charlie Kirk. I admire it.
Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one.
We will never forget how they murdered Charlie Kirk for this war, and he knew they were going to do it. He spent his final days mentally anguished, texting the very people who would ultimately betray him. In honor of Charlie, I stand against Israel. What? What the hell? The fuck does this... What? New strikes in Tel Aviv? Is that new? Are you being botted, or is it a big news day? What do you think, man? Is World War Epstein? I don't know about this one. I think what we really need to think about is the talking points out on background. A senior administration official briefed the reporters today that Iran's negotiators rejected a U.S. offer. They're just lying about everything. It's so funny. Iran's negotiators rejected a U.S. offer to provide free civilian-use nuclear fuel forever and refused to discuss their ballistic missiles program at all. U.S. negotiators felt like the talks couldn't get to a real deal. New strikes happening right now. Man, what is this? Iranian liberal women. Oh, this was after the first 12-day war. Iranian liberal women showing her hair hold protest demanding Iran acquire atomic bomb to use against Israel and close the Strait of Hormuz. This was from the last 12-day war. This was the last time Iran was struck. These bastards have been driving us crazy for 400 years. Yeah, this is a real video, but it was from last time Israel struck Iran. Why are you talking about Iran? Don't you know the Dow hit 50,000? 7 Strato tankers headed towards the Middle East. A lot of reactionaries follow Chris Menahan, so not good. No. Chris Menahan has always been like super anti-Israel, though. Israeli TV is not bragging about all the money they're going to make selling weapon systems after the U.S. takes out Iran. The Israeli defense systems in the coming years will be very, very busy selling weapon systems, a panelist says, according to their own translation. Great. CBS News, celebrations breaking out across Iran. Some thank Trump. What the fuck is wrong with people? I just hate, I hate that these fucking losers win anything. You know what I mean? Note, this is being sent to U.S. bases as well as CENTCOM. Anticipating casualties, Pentagon orders U.S. troops to report their status per memo provided to me by Army. Required to report 100% accountability. The script is the same. That's what's insulting. Seems we hit that complex with a cam after it launched a missile and it was able to be targeted after. Bleak, unk on unk, genocide. Cenk, I don't know how I can be more clear. Trump will end and prevent war in the Middle East. He wants peace. Harris and our neocon cabinet want war, and more war. Oh, I can't believe Stephen Miller lied. Matt Kennard confirms wings of Zion landed in Berlin. The wing of Zion, Netanyahu's prime ministerial... Wait, maybe Cenk wasn't saying Trump was going to be fucking anti-interventionist, actually. I might be confusing Cenk with not Unk, but Glenn Greenwald. He was consistently saying, my mistake. My mistake to Unk. The wing of Zion, Netanyahu's prime ministerial plane, took off from Nevatim Air Base today at 12:10 p.m. It flew off the coast of Israel for 4 hours before flying on to Berlin. It landed in German capital this evening at 8:30 p.m. The Rome statute is nothing. Yes, I know the Trump war room is using the FITUX account. He's looking at the same shit we're looking at, brother. I know. Khamenei tweeted, I know. This is not, it doesn't mean anything.
ما شروع کننده نیستیم اما در مقابل اون کسی که طمع داشته باشه حمله بخواد بکنه اذیت بکنه ملت ایران مشت محکمی بو خواهد.
Always fake smoke from them? No, the smoke this time around is clearly not fucking fake. It just doesn't mean that it's real. I mean, it doesn't mean that he's like actually alive. Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh, you think he edited it, bro? You think the 87-year-old edited the video and posted it with his tongue sticking out? Like you think that's what happened here? What are you, fucking crazy? Phase Khamenei footage. Yeah, I already said he suggested. I already read this. I didn't even get to finish the Trump statement.
Developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement
Crazy that he got that dumbass hat on while he's doing this speech, by the way.
lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties.
That's crazy.
That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for...
He said some of our soldiers are going to die for Israel. It's not a big deal, you know? It is what it is.
the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help.
Just take over your government, forehead. Come on. Like, this is the big... It's unbelievable that this is the grand strategy they have in motion. Come on, just take over the government, dude. What do you mean? It's incredible. Wouldn't that be great? if you guys just, just took over your government. It's like, bitch, you tried to take over this government and it fucking failed. And you were the president. Like, this motherfucker was the president when he did January 6th and it still fucking failed. What are we talking about? You couldn't even liberate the American masses.
But you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all.
And that was posted at about 2:30 a.m. Eastern time by the president. And since then, we saw, of course, the strike across many cities in Iran and the retaliatory strikes across several states and countries there in the region. The UAE reporting that one person was killed by debris falling from one of the intercepts of a ballistic missile from Iran. Let's talk now about the political implications of this operation with Errol Lewis, political anchor for Spectrum News and the host of The Big Deal with Errol Lewis. Errol, good morning to you. And before we get into those specific elements, let's back up just a bit. I mean, the world is awake and watching this, but put this into a domestic political context. Just the moment that we're watching in President Trump's time in office and the gravity of the address we just played in full.
Good morning, Victor. It's interesting that this should be happening right now. There was a poll taken just a couple of days ago, the Associated Press has reported, saying that people have, by and large, Americans have very little confidence in this president to handle a situation of exactly this sort. People are worried, a majority of voters are worried about a nuclear-armed Iran, but an overwhelming majority say they are not entirely comfortable with Donald Trump as the person to try and solve the situation. And so I think when you see that there is this arms buildup, there's this troop buildup, the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, steaming into the region, we know that there's a lot of force being directed at Iran, but it's really telling that there's no troop presence. And the president's address really confirmed that invasion. He wants to try and get out of this or get through this, maybe provoke regime change without a lot of American casualties, because I think the White House knows very well that the people are not necessarily behind this, and that what starts out as uncertainty can turn into direct political opposition if this goes on for too long.
My brothers and sisters, citizens of Israel, before the holidays, Israel and the United States launched a joint operation, Operation Roaring Lion. The goal of the operation: to put an end to the threat from the Ayatollah regime in Iran. At this moment, the IDF is striking targets of the repressive regime, facilities of the Revolutionary Guards and the Besiege, and together with the United States, sites of ballistic missiles that threaten both Israel and U.S. forces. This operation will continue for as long as necessary. For 47 years, the evil regime in Iran has called death to Israel, death to America. It has crushed the citizens of its own country, it has cast fear upon the peoples of the region, and it has spread a sprawling network of terror throughout the entire world. It has invested vast resources to develop atomic bombs and tens of thousands of...
It'll never not be funny to me that everything that the West says about Iran, Israel has done tenfold. Like, they'll talk about Iran wanted to develop nuclear weapons. Israel has nuclear weapons. They talk about, like, Iran being a cancerous force in the region. Israel is the cancer. Okay, 100%. It's nutty.
Missiles intended, as it defined it, to erase Israel from the map of the world. It also armed the terror proxies around us, in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and Judea and Samaria, and it shed our blood. But if anyone needed further proof of the murderous nature of the Ayatollah regime, they received it last month. Because we all saw how this regime of terror in Tehran carried out an unprecedented mass massacre of the citizens of Iran itself. It murdered in cold blood thousands of children, adults, and elderly. Tens of thousands were imprisoned, tortured, humiliated. And why? Only because they asked for a life of freedom and dignity for themselves. In the War of Revival and in Operation Dogs of War, our heroic soldiers struck a crushing blow to the Ayatollah regime and its proxies, but the wounded predator did not cease its attempts to rehabilitate itself for that same goal to destroy us. In recent months, the tyrants in Iran have been plotting to rebuild their nuclear and missile capabilities and hide them underground, where we cannot harm them. If we do not stop them now, they will be immune. And for this purpose, their representatives in negotiations are trying to buy time in futile and deceitful negotiations with our American friends. But the tyrants in Iran made a fatal mistake, because the United States does not buy their lies. And we will not sit idly by while the shadow of annihilation hangs over us, and therefore we have now launched Operation Roaring Lion, an action that is far more powerful than Operation Dogs of War, which was very powerful. We are doing this in full cooperation with our friends in the United States, under the brave leadership of President Trump. Together with the United States, we will strike the terror regime hard. We will create conditions that will allow the brave Iranian people to throw off the yoke of this murderous regime. During Operation Dogs of War, I was asked many times if toppling the regime was the goal of the operation in addition to removing the nuclear and missile threat. And I answered that this was not the goal, but it could certainly be the result, and indeed that is exactly what happened when millions of Iranians took to the streets. And now they are given the opportunity to take their fate into their own hands. Citizens of Israel, also in Roaring Lion, we will all need patience and fortitude, because there will be costs, and perhaps heavy costs. But I know what wonderful powers are hidden within our people, what wonderful powers are hidden within you, citizens of Israel. Since the War of Revival began, we have stood together, and today too we will stand together with heroism, in brotherly love, with mutual responsibility. I ask all of you, strictly follow the home front command instructions, because you already know, these instructions save lives. Challenging days are ahead of us. Every military action involves risk, but the risk of not acting is infinitely greater. Because if we do not act, we will get a nuclear Iran, an Iran with tens of thousands of ballistic missiles, an Iran that will act to destroy us and be immune. As a people desiring life, we have no choice but to go into battle, except that this time we are doing it with the tremendous combined power of the State of Israel and the United States of America. From here, I wish to address the citizens of Iran.
And while you guys are having fun inside of your bomb shelters, I will be in Berlin, at Berghain, partying my dick off.
You, citizens of Iran and the Iranian army, listen. You are not our enemies, and we are not your enemies. We have a common enemy. The murderous cult of the mullahs that has taken over you through the repressive forces of the Revolutionary Guards and the besieged. They are the ones who brought your wonderful country down, brought it down to the depths of despair. They are the ones who have failed you and your children. Therefore, in full coordination with my friend, the President of the United States, I say to you, anyone who lays down their weapons, including among the regime forces, will ensure their safety and secure their future. The Iranian people, in all its parts, the Persians, the Kurds, the Azeris, the Baloch, the Abkhazians, and all other citizens of this wonderful nation. This is your opportunity to establish a new and free Iran. Take your fate into your own hands. Raise your heads, lift them to the sky. Our forces are there. The free world is all coming to your aid. Help has arrived, and I believe the day will.
Hasan, protests have started in Iran per multiple sources. Where? It depends. Also, yeah, you know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say. So why are we, like, I'll spare you. You know what I mean? Did they actually kill him? I think so. As an Iranian, people are just desperate. Yeah, I know. As an Iraqi, people are just desperate is exactly what I heard back then, you know? You can be desperate and still be wrong. That's it. And if you're judging, if you're looking at past performance, it's obvious that anyone who thinks that this is going to yield prosperity is oblivious to a couple things. One, first of all, the best possible thing that the Iranian population could do right now is just sit at home for a little bit, you know, wait it out. That's number one. Number two, let's say that regime change comes. If that regime change comes and the popular support is still on the side of anti-Zionism, well, that's not going to be enough for Israel, is it? Hideous, disgusting, fat old fuck. Of course he funded Hamas. What? Who the fuck are you talking about? 10-month subscriber? I'm so confused. The United Slaves of Israel? What is this? Israel in full panic mode from Danzig celebrating a shut up full-blown panic as Iranian missiles fly overhead. Karma? I don't know if this is new. I was talking to my Iranian cousin who was like, the 100 plus kids who died were just collateral. Also, I don't believe the sources from Iran. Their brains are 100% broken. No, I've already explained it. There are going to be, guys, the Ayatollah has like a 50+% disapproval rating. Okay. Like by most of the polling done in Iran, he's not a very popular guy. Now, of course, Trump is even less popular than the Ayatollah. Do with that information what you will. Literally, Trump is less popular in the United States of America than the Ayatollah is in Iran. Now, having said that, what's really interesting is the popularity that the Ayatollah has, the popular base that he has, is also kind of similar to Donald Trump. Because, like, when I talk about MAGA, I would say, like, 20 to 30% of the American public is like pro-Trump. The rest is anti-Trump. Ayatollah has a similar predicament. 20 to 30% of the population is like in the sect, in the pocket, and in favor of the Ayatollah. And then the rest of the country is not so fond of him, right? Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this makes a popular mobilization or popular resistance all the less likely because he has a fairly strong base of support. The way that people present it, by looking at a lot of the people who hate the Ayatollah, and there are plenty, right? What they fail to factor in this equation is like the popular mobilization that will happen at the behest of the Ayatollah or the regime.
I don't know that that's true. And also, soon they would be able to...
This will cause tremendous destabilization.
The United States. I guess it depends on what you mean by soon. Soon could mean in 2 years, but it certainly wasn't imminent.
What really led to this? The protests in late December and January. President Trump drew a line. He said help is on the way. The supreme leader gave an order to crack down and kill thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of people. That led to this military deployment. And then as this unfolded, everything came together. The missile issue, the nuclear issue, you had these nuclear talks, so everything kind of came together. But this immediate crisis trigger, and why did we deploy this force, you can trace it back to those protests and that massacre, which again, the supreme leader ordered. And I think President Trump was hoping, that...
This is Biden's key guy on Israel, by the way, Brett McGurk.
If Iran was prepared to give up its nuclear enrichment program. But as you and I have been discussing over the last month, that was highly unlikely. Iran is not going to give up that program. It sees it's critical to its own survival, but now its survival is at stake. It has a ways to go, Jake. There's a lot of unknowns.
All right, I'm sure we're going to keep having lots of conversations about this. Brett McGurk, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we are hearing growing calls from Democrats and a handful of Republicans for a vote on the president's power to use unilateral military force against Iran without any congressional authorization. We're going to have a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee who calls the strikes illegal on the show next.
Spring will not be far when Israel.
I'm going to interrupt you very briefly while you've been introducing Julie Sirkin. They're telling.
همیهنان عزیزم لحظاتی سرنوشت ساز پیش روی ماست.
Sorry, but I don't agree with you on this one, Chief. Is there any precedent for the radicalization and empowerment of hardline zealots post-American bombing? True. My mistake. Or even, what country hasn't benefited from a power vacuum that America created in the country? There are so many famous examples of incredible prosperity that American decapitation strikes have actually created. I am, of course, an ISIS supporter, and this is my support.
وقتی که رئیس جمهور ایالات متحده به مردم شجاع ایران وعده داده بود، اکنون رسیده است. این یک مداخله بشردوستانه است و هدف آن جمهوری اسلامی دستگاه سرکوب و ماشین کشتار آن است، نه کشور و ملت بزرگ ایران. اما با وجود رسیدن این کمک، پیروزی نهایی همچنان به دست ما رقم خواهد خورد. این ما ملت ایران هستیم که در این آخرین نبرد کار را تمام خواهیم کرد. زمان بازگشت به خیابانها نزدیک است. اکنون که جمهوری اسلامی در حال فروپاشی است، پیام من به نیروهای نظامی، انتظامی و امنیتی کشور روشن است. شما سوگند خورده اید حافظ ایران و ملت ایران باشید، نه حافظ جمهوری اسلامی و سرکردگانش.
Boring.
Thank God our Prime Minister has declared that we're not having anything to do with it. We are not participating in it. It's an illegal war. We are not going to allow them to use our bases or any of our sites around the world. I doubt, Paul, one single country will rise up and join the Israel-US attacks on Iran.
Australia's backed it.
Yes, but will they join in? This is the Epstein wars. It's so that Trump has got a reason to stop the midterms, and Israel has got a reason to stop the October elections as well. This has got nothing to do with defending the Iranians. And remember, we cannot stop Iran from getting the nuclear bomb. They've already increased their uranium capacity by about 50% since May, and they've hidden their capacity in the Isfahan mountains. Yeah. We can't stop Iran from getting the nuclear bomb, but this war is insane. If we're attacked, we'll have to defend.
Oh my God. What the fuck? Why is she so well read? Like, she's better at analysis than like 98% of people that we've heard from CNN, Israel's favorite news channel. In the course of 2 days, the rationale for this war is cycled through the enrichment program, the freedom for Iranians, and now the ballistic missiles. If this latest one is true, then it clashes with Trump's statements that he can exit quickly and cleanly. No, I'm telling you, I think they just want to instigate some kind of popular movement leaning into the unpopularity of the Ayatollah, and they're waiting it out currently. They're weighing their responses. If we go super hard, will the Iranian population even choose to attack the IRGC?
Secretary of State Marco Rubio was able to notify 7 of the 8 Gang of 8 members before the strikes. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna,
shout out Anonymous Gifter. Thank you for the 100
House Armed Services Committee, described the operation to CNN this way. It's a slap in the face of the United States Congress. The president has launched an illegal war when there is no imminent threat. He did not consult with Congress or allow for a debate in Congress, which even George W. Bush did, unquote. It is not just Democrats who are expressing anger. Republican Congressman Warren Davidson, a former Army Ranger who sits on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, posted on X or Twitter, "No, war requires congressional authorization." Let's bring in Senator Tammy Duckworth, Democrat of Illinois. She sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee and on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and is also an Iraq War veteran and was among the first handful of Army women to fly combat operations during Operation Iraqi Freedom. Senator, what is your reaction to President Trump announcing the death of Iran's supreme leader?
Well, listen, I'm glad that Khamenei is dead. He ordered the massacre and murder of thousands of people. Protesters are protesting for democracy. My problem with this whole thing is how President Trump has gone about doing this. He promised Americans that he would get us out of forever wars, and yet here he is on his own launching an attack on Iran without congressional oversight when there appears to be no imminent.
Like, what do you mean? I'm glad Khamenei is dead. Like, you can't, you don't even, I'm not saying you have to like Ayatollah Khamenei, but you can't be fucking flexing, even from a partisan perspective, a totally and utterly illegal act of killing the head of a sovereign foreign nation state. What are these people doing?
Potentially launch preemptive missile strikes. Now, there is another source that CNN spoke with who's familiar with the intelligence who contradicts those claims and says there were actually no indications that the Iranians planned to strike any U.S. forces or assets first. Did your committees have any intelligence that would back up any claim of an imminent threat or a preemptive strike by the Iranians?
No, there's no evidence of any imminent threat presented by the Iranians. And in fact, they don't have the capabilities to launch a ballistic missile at the United States. They have short and medium range missiles. They don't have anything that can reach the United States of America. And frankly, it was President Trump himself who said that Operation Midnight Hammer annihilated the Iran nuclear program. So which is it? Did they annihilate their nuclear program, or are they imminently about to launch a nuclear attack on the United States? This doesn't hold water. And frankly, I'm deeply concerned that the American taxpayers, and in particular, our men and women in uniform, are going to be paying the price for Donald Trump's recklessness here.
You posted on X today, quote, by illegally striking Iran, Trump made a choice, one he did not have to make, that puts American lives and national security at risk while threatening to draw us into yet another expensive taxpayer-funded forever war without congressional approval. He owes it to the American people. He promised he would always put first to immediate.
Like, you guys understand when you say, I'm glad Khamenei's dead, he's a fucking ruthless autocrat, but I just don't like the way Trump killed him. You're not actually making an argument on your side, you know? Like, people that hear that go, wait, what do you mean? We took out a fucking tyrant. That's awesome. Oh, so you're just mad that Trump is the one who did it? That you didn't do it yourself? Because you were too pussy to do so? Is that what it is? It's so fucking dumb. You're literally saying what he did was awesome. I like what he did. I just don't like how he did it. And for other people, they're going to listen to that. They're going to hear that and go, okay, I don't give a fuck. I'm glad he's dead. You said it yourself.
Years, and Americans became the target of terrorist organizations all around the world. I am deeply concerned that that is where we are. We're in the precipice of that. Alternatively, is he going to do what he did in Venezuela, where he decapitated a terrible regime, but then turn around and started working with the vice president of that same terrible regime? Is he now going to turn around?
Like, oh God, what if he actually fucking works with the IRGC now to stabilize the country? Like, that's
Iran?
an outflanking.
What is next? He needs to come to Congress, present to us his evidence for that imminent danger. We will take the vote. We will have those discussions the way that American people voted for us, empowered us with the responsibility of having that vote. But the administration needs to come forward and tell us what exactly is their next steps.
Army veteran and Illinois Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate it. President
Mods, I'm demanding a manual ban review for Empress Gardens, or I'm reporting for anti-Semitic content. I am even going to submit a government report and open a Twitch ticket. What? A Twitch ticket? You're posting that on YouTube, dog. What the fuck are you saying? Operation Twitch ticket. It's so... YouTube chat is out of control. He said, I'm going to literally call the internet police on... I'm going to tell the government. You're going to jail for banning my friend. You're not even on Twitch. You're on YouTube. What was it? Empress Gardens. Tell your friend they're a bitch too. Oh, Empress Gardens got banned. This is what the chatter is going to tell the U.S. government. Stop this video incites anti-Semitism. Put BB on CNN. Jessica, what you're seeing is this is pure justice. Oh no, you're a fucking idiot. It's not for oil. USA produces the most oil in the world. I don't even know why this person got banned, but it is very funny, and you should literally inform the International Criminal Court. Why stop at the American federal government? Take this up. It's fucking court, dude. Israeli court. Mod comment. One is a genocidal dictator. The other was elected president. It's so simplistic. In contemporary history, we avoided making these comparisons for being poor. Like comparing Hitler, Mussolini to Trump and Bolsonaro is a disservice. I am a tanky and agree with you, Chatters, bro. Beg you, please read something about fascism. What? That's from 2024. I'm going to unban this person. They're just fucking annoying. It's fine. I actually want to keep him banned, though, because I want to see what the other friend does. You know what I mean? I want to keep him banned because I want to see what the other, like, his friend, like, where will they take this? Don't you feel ashamed for profiting off of war? Oh, I didn't even see that part. I think they're just a shitter. Look, 300,000 people left. This is white replacement. Like, they're just a shitter. I don't want a ticket to be submitted to the federal government, so I unbanned the person. Trust your fucking mods. I just want to see what he says. You know what I mean? I mean, they're clearly fucking annoying if they're on the YouTube stream complaining. You know what I mean? I just want to see what their fucking deal is. Like, I want to pick apart their brain a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. Okay. Anyway, trust the fucking mods, Piker. I'll write a ticket to unban me. Okay, shut the fuck up, YouTube
CNN,
chat.
the U.S. State Department just announced that Secretary of State Marco Rubio will no longer be traveling to Israel on Monday. This following President Trump's announcement of the death of Iran's supreme leader in that massive wave of airstrikes by U.S. and Israeli forces. The Iranians retaliating with drone and missile attacks on sites across the region in what could be the most significant conflict in the Middle East since the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003. I'm joined now by retired Army General David Petraeus, who led U.S. Central Command and later served as CIA director. General, good to see you. In Sunday, in an interview on WABC, you predicted that U.S. strikes in Iran, quote, will not bring about regime change, sadly, end quote. Regime change is something that numerous presidents have weighed and that the CIA surely has gamed out. And obviously, the death of Khamenei doesn't necessarily suggest regime change. It might just suggest a new head of the regime. Are there more moderate forces within the rank of ayatollahs, the mullahs, or within the Iranian government who not only could run the country, but who could lead it to a more less aggressive stance when it comes to the world?
Yeah, I think there are probably. In fact, Karim Sajapour, one of the sagest Iranian experts, was remarking that the regime used to be 80% hardliners and 20% charlatans, he termed it. These are the pragmatists, really. If they're just along for the ride to get what they can get. And now it's 80% charlatans and 20% hardliners. So surely in there are some who recognize that a country with the second largest natural gas reserves in the world, reserves an educated population, quite a secular population too, compared to others in the region, that surely there is someone there who might see that death to Israel and death to America has not produced particularly good results. In fact, their proxies are all degraded very heavily. Hezbollah is a shadow of its former self, hasn't even really done much so far. And Syria is no longer an ally. Others are degraded also. So there surely is someone. The question is, can that be the person who actually grabs the reins of power? I must say that when I offered that assessment a week or so ago, that I certainly didn't assume that we would have this stunning achievement today, which is to take out the supreme leader, apparently the defense minister and the head of the Revolutionary Guards Corps, and maybe the president as well, and some others, which also is just a reflection of stunning arrogance on the part of the Iranian leadership. I think they really were, they thought they were in the clear for another period of daylight because we didn't go during the normal time. Almost all of our operations begin in the early hours of the morning. And in this case, they apparently came out and they were even gathering and meeting, discussing various topics. And that's how the Israeli precise intelligence enabled their superb military strikes, along with our military actions, to achieve this really extraordinary and truly historical achievement. But again, who will follow? That's the question. And then also, is there a large number defecting? And could someone then take leadership of that? The challenge here is there is no Ahmed al-Shara figure, as in Syria, who had a military force who was able to take down the hollow regime forces of the murderous Bashar al-Assad in Syria when the Hezbollah and the Iranians and Russians couldn't come to the rescue.
Yeah, I read an analysis today or yesterday in which...
Yeah, if only we had an ISIS affiliate inside of Iran that we could activate.
Their oppressive regime, but also how worried they are about U.S. intervention because they have seen the chaos that presided after Iraq, Libya, Syria, and on and on. So you could understand that President Trump does not seem to be suggesting that the U.S., and now he wouldn't, even if we did have CIA forces on the ground, I have no idea, but he doesn't seem to be suggesting that the U.S. or the West is playing any sort of role in trying to help organize the next leader.
Well, we don't know. What we do know is that Mossad, for decades, has had extraordinary intelligence and penetration inside Iran. The first time I ever met with an Israeli Defense Force chief of staff, it was in the Pentagon because they weren't part of Central Command at that time. They are now, and we really couldn't go. And he laid out photos of the inside of the most sensitive facilities in Iran. They went on, of course, later to steal the nuclear records right out of Tehran. They, of course, had intelligence that led to the ability to take out over a dozen nuclear scientists and many of the senior leaders with precise drone activity from a base they established inside Iran. So I think there's a big question about, do they have something in the mix? Can they find some leaders and then enough guys with guns? Because the problem is that the people that usually prevail in situations like this are not the Democrats on a white horse here, the George Washington figures. These are the guys with the most guns and the most ruthless willingness to use those weapons.
Yep. General David Petraeus, always good to have you on. Thank you so much, sir. The breaking news tonight, Iran Supreme Leader dead, killed by U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. President Trump now calling on the Iranian people to rise up and take their country back. We'll take you live to the Middle East next.
Bet you can't run as fast as T-Mobile. Bet you I can.
Bro, this kicked off because, I mean, it's kind of crazy, the sheer arrogance from Petraeus there, where he's like, wow, these guys are so stupid. In the midst of another round of negotiations, they were dumb enough to get together and have like a regular meeting in their own country. And I guess to a certain degree, it's true. It is kind of dumb, right? It is kind of dumb because like it's obvious that they were going to do this. But even then, like you shouldn't say it if you're America. You know what I mean? You should just not be out there saying like, yeah, of course we're going to kill sovereign leaders on their own soil in their nation's capital amidst negotiations. You know, the very same people celebrating the assassination of the Ayatollah, who was very unpopular in Iran, but not as unpopular as Trump here, would be appalled if Trump got extrajudicially taken out like this tomorrow by a foreign entity. Is a white supremacist exceptionalism? Yes. Remember to spot the implicit assumption, says Nathan J. Robinson. Israel, and only Israel, has the right to defend itself. Israel has the right to exist as an apartheid state. Iran must never have nukes, but the U.S. and Israel can. Iran's missiles are a threat to us, but not ours to them. The U.S. empire will not be looked at in history kindly. New proverb unlocked. Beware of Americans negotiating. Yeah, it's so busted.
First of all, what is your reaction to this attack on your country?
Thank you. This is an act of aggression. This is an unprovoked, unwarranted act of aggression that is targeting innocent people, civilian infrastructure. This morning, one of the first missiles that targeted Iran, in fact, targeted a primary school in Minab, Hormozgan province, southern Iran, and it killed more than 70 innocent little girls. Still, there are tens of people.
Okay, but have you considered that, like, you know, we were liberating them? We were liberating the 70 little girls is unironically the argument that, like, Israel and America is making today. Okay.
Tens of little girls under the rubble. So this was not the first case. Many other buildings, medical centers were also hit by American and Israeli act of aggression during the course of today.
There are also reports that many senior leaders in Iran have been killed. Does that include the supreme leader? Is the supreme leader still alive? And is the president still alive?
Thanks to God, they are all safe and sound. Yes, we have had some martyrs, some commanders who have been martyred as the result of this terrorist act of aggression. But what matters is that the Iranian nation, our armed forces, our brave armed forces, are taking necessary measures in the most strongest way possible.
Isn't the truth that you could have avoided this by simply doing a deal with the United States and saying you would never have a nuclear weapon?
That's crazy. Bro, they did say that. Like, what? Oh my God. I hate this. I hate this so much because it's just so fake. Just say if media was honest, they would just be like, you're offensive to Israel. Your existence is offensive to Israel. That's it. Like all this stuff about like how they're trying to liberate Iran, bullshit. The stuff about the nuclear program, bullshit. Okay? It's all fucking bullshit. They're like, why won't you bend the knee to Israel and America? That's it. Why do you have weapons that can protect your nation state? Why do you have weapons that present a threat to the existence of Israel?
President Trump was never going to allow you to have a nuclear weapon, and there was a chance to do a deal.
How many times has Iran said that we would not seek nuclear weapons? Come on. We made a deal in 2015, but 3 years later, in 2018, the United States withdrew from the deal unilaterally. Again, during the past 9 months, we entered into negotiations with the United States. You remember in June, we were in the middle of the negotiations, and we have always said that Iran is not seeking nuclear weapons. Just show me one single report by the IAEA that can certify Iran's deviating from peaceful purposes. That's a big lie that has been propagated by the United States, by Israeli lobby inside the United States for the past 4 decades, that Iran is going to have nuclear weapon. There is no nuclear weapon. Iran has never sought to have nuclear weapons, period.
But President Trump is arguing that you are not taking the talks seriously. America considers you a threat. Israel clearly considers you a threat. And you are also, it is now obvious, are a threat to your own people, having killed so many people simply trying to protest and express their freedom of speech.
That's not
Dude, at what point is this argument rendered silly? Like if America kills more people than the number of people that the Iranian government killed, is that when? In terms of sanctions, it's already a much higher magnitude of death to begin with. But like what, through direct bombing campaigns? Is that when they drop this? Except I know they don't drop this because they did this with Israel. They said the same thing about Hamas. They literally said the same thing about Hamas. Israel was like, we are liberating the Palestinians from Hamas. How are we liberating them? By fucking murdering them directly. When asked why they were doing it, they were like, well, Hamas is killing Palestinians. Okay, well, so are you. You're killing way more Palestinians. Hamas is Palestinian.
True.
Which part of that?
Come on. Both of them. You Europeans, the European Union, European countries always regard themselves as the custodian of the...
I mean, let's not pretend the Iranian government is the government for the people. Doesn't justify what we're doing, but like, let's keep that part real. Brother, what the fuck are you talking about? This is completely beyond the scope of the conversation. Okay? Hello? What are you saying? How is this even in any way, shape, or form relevant to America's first strike against Iran that took place today? That only means something if you truly believe that America has a special type of bomb that they deployed on Iran, and those schoolgirls that they killed with that special type of bomb were actually high command IRGC military leaders that were responsible for murdering protesters in the fucking streets. Hasan needs to explain this point better. What are you talking about? There is no point. You only bring this up if you want to justify America's actions. It is utterly irrelevant in the conversation of America and Israel's first strike against Iran. What more explanation do you want to fucking hear? What can I say? There is no additional point that I can make here that would like help people understand if they're just like refusing to comprehend this. It's not. I'm simply responding to the reporter's question. One doesn't need to be wrong for one to be right. Both actions to be wrong. America's current actions are how Iraqis are people. Yes, obviously, no nation state should be killing their fucking people for protesting. America kills its own people for protesting. We know this, okay? But it's utterly irrelevant. The reason why the fucking journalist is asking that question is because he wants to justify America and Israel's actions. That's the exact same reason why the journalist asked the stupid question before that, where he was like, why won't you concede to America's demands to not have nuclear arms? Do you think that this reporter is actually doing honest reporting here? Or do you think he is trying to do regime propaganda? He is doing regime propaganda. It's that simple. It's the same principle behind asking Hamas to condemn Hamas in the aftermath of a fucking genocide. You bring up a Hamas Politburo chief moments after his children were slaughtered in Israel's hands in fucking Doha too, of all places. And then you go, do you condemn Hamas? The fuck are you talking about?
Rule of law. Show me just one single.
It's an utterly irrelevant point in America's bombing campaign here, unless you actually are lending credence to America's military initiatives. You actually think America's bombing campaign has something to do with bringing about democratic change in Iran. And if you truly believe that, you're a fucking idiot. Do you understand? Thank you, Open Press, for the 100 gifted subs.
Law or logic that if one country regards another country as a threat, they are allowed under international law simply to launch an attack.
But
what kind of threat? Come on, what kind of threat do you think Iran was posing to the United States? Did we go to the Gulf of Mexico to attack the United States? They have come from 6,500 miles away to our shore.
All right.
They have created so
all right,
many
you're making too much sense. All right, now, enough with that.
military bases around Iran. And right now, they are attacking Iran. And you are saying that Iran is a threat to Israel and to the United States?
Well, you're clearly a threat to Israel. You want to destroy Israel. Now, President Trump wants regime change.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Because
no, come on. Please do not change the facts. It was the Israel and the United States that attacked Iran, not vice versa. In June, they attacked Iran. Right now, they are telling everyone clearly that we launched an attack against Iran. It was not Iran that launched an attack against the United States or Israel.
But the position now is that President Trump is clearly after regime change. He wants the people of Iran to rise up and overthrow the government. Do you think that could happen?
That's an illusion. That's, again, an unlawful act of aggression. That's against the right of self-determination of the people. The Iranian nation decided 47 years ago to overthrow the dictatorship that was supported by the United States. The Iranian nation knows how to take care of their destiny. It is not for any outsiders to claim that they are trying to help Iranian nation. Our people saw it by their own eyes when the United States tried to help us by killing innocent girls in Minab and other cities.
Right.
The junior schoolers were massacred in many cities in Iran.
It's not a black and white situation. It's a gray area in some parts. The attack isn't justified. Trump is doing what he wants to and so on. The Iran government is still hurting its own people pretty hard. Or working with Iran refugees is pretty horrible what was happening there. No, it is a black and white situation. Because if your job is to say, oh, I want to stop, dead Iranians, okay? If you're saying like it's really gross and fucked up that Iranians are dying, and the Americans traveled 6,000 miles to go and fucking kill Iranians, and they're going to continue killing more Iranians, as a matter of fact, then yeah, it's actually America's fault. It is pretty black and white. It's actually incredibly black and white. What are you talking about?
That was the kind of help that the United States.
Bro, the Western progressive movement will not survive. I mean, it's just not even real. I don't think. I think there is genuinely no salvation for many people who will always turn around and go, oh man, well, it's too complicated. It's too complicated. Like, if you're still saying that right now, if you're still saying that at this moment, when the two countries that have conducted this operation are responsible for more death and destruction around the globe by a much wider margin, regardless of how brutal Iran might be to his own citizens, you're lost in the sauce. Like, you will never understand this. Okay? If your goal is the avoidance of death and destruction and murder, you can't under any circumstances be like, well, you know, these guys are pretty bad too. I'm glad that I'm not glad that they're bombing, but like, you know, something had to happen. Like, what are we talking about? What the fuck is this? And especially considering that like America and Israel have been doing this over and over and over again to so many countries, from Iraq to Syria to Afghanistan to Libya. What the fuck are we doing? Make no mistake, the U.S.-Israel war against Iran is a colonial war like the genocide in Palestine, the invasion of Iraq and Libya, the incineration of Vietnam and Laos. It is war to subjugate the people of the global south and annihilate their resistance. Colonialism has no place in humanity and it must be defeated, 100%. There's no other way to read this. I'm not a defender of the Ayatollah, but there's no other fucking way to read what you're saying here. And it's especially crazy to me that you guys are doing this. Like, listen to me, okay? One of the things that I always demand of you when you change your mind on, you know, Israel's genocide, for example, maybe initially after October 7, you were shocked by the trauma and the violence that you saw unfold on your screens, and you were like, how can anybody do this? Maybe these guys are barbaric or whatever. And then slowly but sure, you learned about the history of Israel. You learned about what Israel was doing post-October 7, and then that caused you to dive deeper into understanding like how the Palestinian resistance formed, right? And you changed your mind through that process. And I'm here for you, okay? It's fantastic that you changed your mind in that process. But what do I always tell you? Remember your initial thoughts. Remember your initial hangups that didn't cause you to dive deep into the fucking source material to develop a broader understanding of why people do certain things. Because that hang up, if you don't eradicate that in your mind, will come back over and over again. Same with like people who were anti-Jeremy Corbyn, who fell victim to the propaganda campaign that Jeremy Corbyn was actually an anti-Semite. Like, what do I always say? It's great that you love Jeremy Corbyn now, but think about what led you to believe so easily that so readily that Jeremy Corbyn was an anti-Semite, and try to eradicate that inside of your mind. Okay? And the same goes for this. For a lot of people, post-October 7, they were not ready for the conversation that, you know, Israel was responsible for October 7 due to 75 years of brutal apartheid. And although many people changed their minds with new information, okay, they still, I guess, did not change the way that they receive Western propaganda and information about Western imperialist endeavors. Because Israel was also making that same argument post-October 7. They were saying, we are liberating the Palestinians from Hamas. It turns out they were just liberating Palestinians from their own fucking mortal coil, right? And the same goes for this incident. This is an imperialist war of aggression against a sovereign state in the region for one reason and one reason only: its sovereignty. Because as long as Iran remains sovereign, doesn't matter if it's a despotic regime that is tyrannical or ruthless to his own citizens, doesn't matter if it's the most prosperous, peaceful, liberal country on the planet, as long as it maintains sovereignty and has an anti-Israel position, which is righteous, by the way, it will always be a threat to the nation state of Israel, and therefore it will be eradicated. Okay? The same exact arguments are currently being deployed right now to justify, to help you come to terms with what America did, to make you say, you know, it's really fucked up that those children died. It's really fucked up that America killed those children. But don't you think the Iranian government is also cruel and also ruthless? And that's precisely what you need to fucking shed this understanding that, like, America sometimes gets a lot of stuff right. Like, America sometimes is very violent, but that violence is done at the behest of a greater good, right? And in this circumstance, the greater good is obviously overthrowing this despotic regime. That's what you're doing. That's what you're fucking doing in this moment, okay? It's not a moment for centrism. You're not making a profound statement. You are refusing. You are refusing to look at the much larger, much more consequential decisions that are being implemented. Okay? America did not blow up that school and numerous other targets and to kill the Ayatollah because the Ayatollah is ruthless to his own citizens. The Ayatollah's ruthlessness, or the IRGC's ruthlessness to its own citizens, unironically presents a national security problem for Iran all on its own. Okay? No, bro, uncommon hell. We can't ignore the people being oppressed by the Iranian regime. They're part of this as well. No, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Dialectics, you say. You can understand both. Dialectics. No, that's ridiculous. That is fucking ridiculous. It shows me that there are so many people, even in this community, that think that they're like anti-war, they're pro-peace, they're fucking anti-imperialist, but they refuse to comprehend when imperialism is happening. There are many different, unique ways of selling you this imperialism. And you fall in line. At the end of the day, you fall in line. You justify it to yourself. That's it. Iran as a sovereign state presents a reactive force against America's imperialist endeavors in the region. And that is the reason why America and Israel have wanted to destabilize the nation state for the longest fucking time. And that is precisely the reason why they're engaging in this destabilization. That is precisely the reason why America has implemented sanctions. It's not sovereign, though. It's occupied by the mullahs. Man, shut the fuck up. It's occupied by the mullahs. Oh, everything else is pure whataboutism. Okay? It's ridiculous. We do not get to dictate the terms of other people's living standards. Unfortunately, for many, especially many living in the Western world, we are so comfortable with that we find any and every reason to continue said oppression, and we justify it to ourselves in little ways. How is this any different than when Israel says, oh, well, Hamas is very anti-gay. We have to ruthlessly slaughter them. That's it. That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. Hamas is throwing gays off the roofs. We have to fucking blow them up with our homophobia-destroying weapons. Meanwhile, the people that are engaging in this violent act are far more ruthless. This doesn't mean that the IRGC or the Ayatollah is a good guy. This doesn't mean that they're not ruthless in their domestic affairs and the way that they stamp out protests, the way that they react violently. But if we're talking about overall death and destruction around the world, it's not even a fucking question who has been responsible for infinitely more casualties. If you get mad at the at the IRGC slaughtering its own population, you should be infinitely more mad that a foreign alien force has traveled 6,000 miles with tens of billions of dollars worth of weapons and have blown up a fucking school in said sovereign country. What is this conversation? Every single argument that the American side has presented is bullshit. They say, oh, Iran won't correspond to our demands. Iran has conceded to the demands being made on the denuclearization side of things. Iran has even said, oh, we'll talk in the future about a ballistic missile program change as well. They'll say, oh, Iran is actually really ruthless to its own citizens. That's why we have to do this. The citizens demand, they yearn for freedom. And that freedom comes in the form of Hellfire missiles. It's ridiculous. It's totally fucking ridiculous. I cannot believe that people still in this community try to come up with any excuse whatsoever that they can lean into. Oh, two bad things could be real at the same time. You're not making a brilliant point here. Okay? One thing is worse. Unlimited airstrikes as a foreign nation state on a sovereign peoples is far worse, especially when those unlimited airstrikes on a sovereign people have nothing to do with the liberation of said people. And then, of course, the propaganda kicks in. The people of Iran begged for American intervention after 20 to 30K were killed in protest. This was the only way the regime change was going to happen. Exactly. Do you see what you did, chatter? Two bad things can be correct at the same time, chatter. Look, these are your fucking allies. You understand? People love taking advantage of the information vacuum. People love taking advantage of the morality vacuum. We have to be uncompromising in moments like this. You can't cast aside the true escalation of violence in the hands of American empire by leaning into these counter narratives. That's what I was trying to stress to Ro Khanna as well. That's what I was criticizing when the Democrats come out and they're like, well, you know, I'm glad the Ayatollah is dead. I'm glad that the Ayatollah was murdered. I just don't like the process in which this murder took place. Yes, why do you think I'm defending the U.S.? I hate the fact that it's happening. I'm completely against this. We don't have to blindly support the regime. Support the actual people of Iran. Yo, I'm not in favor of this, bro. Trying to make a complex problem simple is exactly the issue. It's a privileged take. You're right, dude. You know who is making that exact same argument? People devoid of privilege like Lindsey Graham. People devoid of privilege like Marco Rubio. People devoid of privilege like Tammy fucking Duckworth. People devoid of privilege like Donald Trump. There is no both sides. There is no both sides here. It's ridiculous. You just don't want to fucking say it. If you understand the nuances and the complexity here, you would understand that I'm not a supporter of the IRGC. Okay? And its domestic affairs, of course. I'm a supporter of Iranian sovereignty. Let's say this helps Iran. People of Iran become free and get to live in democracy. Everyone's happy. Would you change your views on U.S. intervention then? Sure. Probably not, because I'm aware of American history. If they got one right for once, that would be a shocking change of pace. It still wouldn't change my perspective broadly on U.S. intervention because I'm not fucking delusional and I've seen this exact same song and dance over and over again. Okay? Libya, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, everywhere that we have our footprint has crumbled, cratered, been destroyed. Yeah, it's like a gunshot to the fucking head. And every time the argument is, what if this time it's different? What leads you to believe that? The favorite quote of fake Einstein quote that people love using all the time is the definition of insanity is trying to same thing 1,000 times and then expecting different results, right? Well, this applies perfectly here. What leads you to believe that this time will be different when every single time they've done this, they've said the exact same thing? And this time, they're not even trying that hard. You're just making that up in your own mind. They're not even saying that this will yield a prosperity for Iran. They're not even making that argument all that much. It doesn't take much for you to believe it, it seems. It's like the people that kept telling me, like, well, Hasan, why didn't you just, like, lie about what Kamala Harris's positions were to your audience rather than reflect on them accurately? You know? Doesn't matter. The fuck do you mean? Sit here and be like, well, you know, America has tried to attempt to liberalize countries over and over again, and it seems like the entire point of that was always imperialism and the bounties for American capital and international capital, but this time it might be different. Like, why would I fucking say that? Why would I say that? It's ridiculous. What is it, Tariq Ali News? I have heard from an Iranian friend that her partner in Tehran has sent her a message. She's a leftist and is telling her that U.S. Israelis are targeting a number of known leftist homes in Tehran and elsewhere in an attempt to make sure there's no opposition to their favored candidate once they destroy the regime. What this reveals is the degree of penetration by Mossad in Iran. What it also means is that this is not going to be an easy occupation for the U.S. and its Israeli buddies. I mean, I don't know how valid this is, but I will say they have literally targeted the home of a fucking left figure in Iran who was under house arrest. So it's not... I don't know how valid this statement is. It's like giving, you know, my uncle works at Nintendo a little bit. But we have seen one clear-cut example of the American and Israeli bombing campaigns literally trying to kill an opposition figure to the administration that is currently living under house arrest. It's all propaganda. I'm losing my mind. Like, I went to college and did international relations courses with men and women my age from Iran, and they always said every single secular element of the country that isn't CIA or Mossad backed is more aggressive towards the West than the Ayatollah is. That's the other side of the story. They don't, that's like, Iran is never going to have actual sovereignty with this initiative. And they're not even hiding it. And there's still dumb cocksuckers in this fucking audience being like, but what if it's different, dude? What if they bring about democracy with bombs this time?
Whatever the... George Bush is not fighting this like Vietnam. Whatever the... We don't need to refight the whole history of Vietnam.
Maybe. That's the danger of
But
Saddam,
but it's not going to happen.
Let me take
it's
a
not
call
going to happen.
from
This is going to be a 2-month war, not a
Park Hill.
year
It's
war.
going to be...
There it is. Oh, Willie Crystal, head of the bulwark. Yeah. Real neoliberalism hasn't been tried. Real bombing for democracy hasn't been tried. We've been trying. We've been trying since World War II. Iranian ambassador, I would advise the U.S. representative to be polite. It would be better for yourself and the country you represent.
Thank you. I have one word only. I advise to the representative of the United States to be polite. It will be better for yourself and the country you represent. Thank you.
The representative of the United States has asked for the floor to make a further statement.
Frankly, I'm not going to dignify this with another response, especially as this representative sits here in this body representing a regime that has killed tens of thousands of its own people and in...
This happened after Saddam was toppled. It didn't stop many Iraqi insurgents from shooting RPGs at me years later. Wait, what the fuck? Oh my God. That is shocking. He's not wrong. He's not saying, dude, what the fuck? That is the most like anti-interventionist statement I've seen from an American Democrat, while also still simultaneously, you know, admitting to his service as a war criminal. But still, are you kidding me? He's directly fucking attacking people who are demanding intervention and the regime toppling. He might delete this tweet, I think. What the fuck? Ruben Gallego? So what's next? All these Iran war boosters are fine with an air war. What happens when it doesn't end neatly? Is Trump willing to commit ground troops? The president owes the American public. That's not great. Bullshit. That guy's on it when it comes to U.S. intervention. I guess the reason why I'm thinking of him being lackluster, or my assessment is that, well, one, he's a Democrat, and two, he literally was pro-Israel until he got yelled at. Why aren't you downtown LA with your press visit with the diaspora? Yeah, let me go to the fucking Let's Bomb Iran festival.
Republican president does this, right? Every Republican president comes to office, cuts benefits for the poor, cuts taxes for the rich, raises prices, and then bombs a Middle East country. Ronald Reagan did it, George Bush Sr. did it, George Bush Jr. did it, and Donald Trump has done it. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Donald Trump is not just alone in that pack in the sense, as Swinso put it, mentally desiccated game show star. It's not just that it wasn't George Bush and Dick Cheney that attacked Iran. It was the guy from Home Alone 2. It's also the fact that he ran as the anti-war president, the anti-war candidate, the no more forever wars, the no regime change wars. Again, sorry to plug our excellent Zeteo content today, but we just put out a piece at Zeteo, listing out all the times Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. and Stephen Miller and David Sachs, all of these Trump people said, vote Trump. He's the guy who won't take us into any more Middle East wars. Kamala Harris will send your boys to fight and die, Stephen Miller said. Not us. Donald Trump said, there'll be no new war on my watch. He bombed 7 countries in 2024. He started 2025. He started 2026. Now here we are with this major conflict in Iran. We don't know where it's going to go. And it was all a lie. And I'm sorry, I've got to say this. Swin said, we all knew. Well, many of us knew. But we also had a bunch of people on the right, and sadly on the left too, who bought into this bullshit line that Donald Trump would be an anti-war candidate. He would be a candidate of restraint, of isolationism, Donald the Dove. It was bullshit. The people who fell for it should apologize today or hang their heads in shame, because what Trump has done, as I say, in many ways is worse than even what Bush did. Bush at least turned up to Congress. Saddam Hussein at least had once had a weapons program that people were worried about. With Iran, it's completely illegal and unprovoked.
Sagar, a declared regime change war of choice for freedom of the Iranian people, a regional war in a matter of hours, American lives at risk. A massive depletion of military stockpiles on behalf of Israel. Most importantly, the most profound campaign betrayal in modern U.S. history. It's just really unfortunate how this Trump guy had never been president before the 2024 election, and there was no way of knowing if he was a neoconservative until now. Switch over to CBS and you'll see. But yes, I take your broader point. It's bad right now. Did Randy Fine reply to Mehdi Hasan and myself? Bro, you never showed us this Dana Fash.
And we have here somebody who actually did just go vote for Ron Paul, a first-time caucus voter, Corporal Jesse Thorson, who is 28 years old, and you are active duty U.S. Army. Why did you vote for Ron Paul?
Well, I'm really excited about a lot of his ideas, especially when it comes to bringing the soldiers home. I've been serving for 10 years now, and all 10 years of those have been during wartime. I'd like to see a little peacetime army, and I think he has the right idea.
Now, you have done 2 tours in Afghanistan. You told me you're going to go back for a third tour. I mean, if you can see your neck right there, what you have on your tattoo, 9/11, remember, and a picture of the Twin Towers. You know, some Republicans out there have been saying that Ron Paul would be very dangerous for this country because he wants to bring troops like you back from your post from all over the world.
Well, I think it would be even more dangerous to start nitpicking wars with other countries. Someone like Iran. Israel is more than capable of.
All right, we just lost our connection, unfortunately.
Damn, that sucks when the connection gets lost like that. That's crazy. I hate this cutoff, you know? I can't believe it. Unbelievable how that happened. Let's hear what Jason Crow is talking about. Let's see what he's saying.
That could happen as a result of this.
Americans are piglets, man. We are literally a fucking nation of cattle, straight up. Like what do you say? What do you say to all the fucking people out there that are just like, well, you know, this is actually probably for the greater good. I feel pretty solid about this stuff. I mean, Iran is pretty bad, actually. I hadn't really put a lot of thought into this beforehand, but, you know, maybe the Ayatollah dying is a good thing overall. 93 million people. Just launching unjustifiable first strikes over and over again, killing children, probably a good thing.
Well, listen, I'm just damn furious. You know, the man's a 5-time draft dodger. He's an elite, and you know, I went to war. I fought with working class kids. They're the ones that do the fighting and dying. And how amazing of Donald Trump to say, you know, that often happens in war, and that's a cost he's willing to take. Great for him. It's not his kids. It's not his family. It's not his billionaire donors who are having to go off and do it. It's kids in towns across the country that have to pick up the guns, jump into the planes and helicopters and get it done. And it's kids that are sitting there at military bases in Bahrain, like your video is showing now, who are sitting in bunkers right now because Donald Trump is willing to.
That's cap, by the way. They're not even sitting in bunkers. They're sitting in like nice ass hotels. I don't know if they moved to the bunkers because the Iranians started also bombing, but let's be real, okay?
To take a chance with their lives.
I saw that fucking nice ass apartment that one soldier was in when he was filming his base getting blown up.
This is everything that's wrong with our national security infrastructure and our policies, right? Elites make decisions, they talk tough, they pound their chests, and then everybody else is left holding the bag. Enough is enough, right? Let's actually have a conversation about what is in our interests, what we're willing to do with American lives, what we're willing to do with American taxpayer dollars, and it's Congress that is supposed to have that responsibility, right? I'm not interested in process arguments, but what I am interested in is accountability. And the Constitution put that accountability on Congress to take the votes, be held responsible for it, and to go home and sit in high school gymnasiums and Rotary clubs and forums around the country.
Once again, sirens are sounding, red alerts populating across Israel's Iranian missile salvo inbound. It's crazy.
To be held accountable for those decisions.
So you want to see a congressional vote on this?
Heck yeah, I do. I think we should go back to D.C. right now. I'm willing to jump on a plane in an hour and go home and take up a vote on this because that is what the American people deserve, right? They deserve accountability. They deserve to know who is willing to take chances with their national security, their kids' lives, their taxpayer dollars. Let's take the vote. I want names.
Fifth threat, missiles and drones in Dubai, Bahrain heading towards Haifa. God damn. Bro, I don't even understand how many missiles they have. Like the first day so far, The first day's not even done. It's like half of the first day has been done. And in that process, they literally have deployed double the amount of missiles, I think, that they sent in the 12-day war. I guess it's like they've been waiting for this moment. You know, this is it. Any chance this will end once it crashes the economy further? Insurers cancel policies and raise prices for ships in the Gulf and Strait of Hormuz. The lesson U.S. sanctions campaigns is that you don't have to physically blockade shipping lines. You just have to raise risk enough that normal commercial trade stops working. That too. The Houthis will probably blockade the Red Sea again. And then what? What's America going to do? Go and fucking attack the Houthis too? The Al Udeid air base in Qatar is under attack in the past hour again. Fuck. Dude, the entire cost of this is going to be, holy fuck, the cost of this is going to be immense. Like, look at our tax dollars, brother. God damn. What the fuck? BBC says they have 2,000 missiles and more drones than that. Israel news reports a few hours ago they've launched 200 missiles and drones so far. Oh yeah, a Chinese tourist in Tel Aviv captured the footage of the U.S. Military support ship being hit by an Iranian missile. By the way, that was real. Look.
看到，起烟了没有？航母被炸了啊！看到啊！航母被炸！哇塞，航母被炸了啊！看到啊！看到没有？看见了吧？这航母被炸了，啊！哎呦，我说话都不会说了，现在被吓。哇塞！哎呦哇塞，这航母被炸了啊！看看啊！看那个浓烟了没？在海里面炸到航母旁边啊！看看啊！美国是航母炸的地方。哎呦哇塞！
Tom, fuck you for talking about costs when lives are being stolen and now literally is the modern age Franz Ferdinand. Brother, I've been live for 7 hours and 40 minutes. Haven't spent the last 7 hours and 39 of those minutes talking about the fucking death and destruction, lives being lost. You know, are you fucking stupid?
Wow. Oh,
yeah, here, look. Think about it like that. Ya Ali, ya Ali. I'm glad the people of Bahrain are having a good time with it, though. It's nice that they're enjoying it. The Shias in Bahrain are having a grand old time. Al Jazeera confirmed 2 minutes ago Israel is starting another round of bombing right now. Oh, that's a hit, isn't it? Yeah. Why won't they show the fucking strikes, man? That is old? No, this is live. Unlike the 12-day war in Iran, which Iran used a certain segment of its missile force to retaliate in distinguishable waves, this is complete chaos. Many missiles across many fronts, potentially with units acting without centralized authority. That might be a function of changes the IRGC made to its command structure post-12-day war to prevent the paralysis that seemed to grip them at the time. The Iranian attacks on all fronts, especially those attacks aimed at U.S. allies and partners in the region, is almost certainly a semi-planned campaign to attempt to impose enough costs on U.S. allies to isolate U.S. and Israel diplomatically. So far, that campaign seems to be having the precise opposite effect, but that may change if this really does last weeks. Let's see what CNN is covering. Just ads.
To provide to
another war began this morning at about 6 o'clock UK time. We were getting reports that the Israelis had launched attacks on Iran, looking as if they were intended as decapitation attacks in downtown Tehran, looking as if they were going after individual people. And that was followed up pretty quickly by United States attacks that looked like SEAD, suppression of enemy air defenses. And that's what powers do when they then want to take down the air defenses of an adversary country and then move in to work through a target list of attacks. And since then, there's quite a big target list of attacks in Iran, and that list will probably grow in the next 24 hours. President Trump then made a very interesting 8-minute statement in which he made it very clear that he was going for broke. He was devoting himself to the destruction, the elimination of the Iranian government. And that's war. When you try and destroy a foreign government, that's a war. So by 8 o'clock this morning, UK time, we had a war in our hands. And it looks as if it will go on for a little time yet, as the Americans and the Israelis work through their target set. Meanwhile, the Iranians have done exactly what they said they would do in these circumstances. They've gone after other targets. They've regarded every foreign base in the region as a legitimate target. And they've gone after any Western...
Rick Scott?
Of the Gang of Eight congressional leaders ahead of the strikes. But sources say those lawmakers were not given a full legal justification for the strikes. What do you think the full legal justification is? And should that...
Bro, CNN the entire day has been a peanuts gallery of some of the worst villains in American society. It's crazy.
I want to appreciate the president, and I want to appreciate our military. We cut the head off the snake. Iran has been killing American citizens for decades. So finally we have a president who's willing to do it. And the objective of this was to stop their missiles.
What is he even talking about?
They're adding more short and long-range missiles. They have missile launchers.
Iran has been killing American citizens for decades. What the fuck?
American troops. They've been negotiating with Iran, and Iran...
Come on, Jake. Is that true?
Said they have the right to rebuild their nuclear weapons and enrich. They wouldn't stop the missile production. So the president didn't have any option. If you want to defend this country, which this president wants to defend this country,
Rogues gallery.
He actually didn't have any option
Peanuts
because
gallery.
you know what they've said. Iran has said for decades is they want to destroy us and our ally Israel. So I'm very appreciative of what the president did, and he has every right to do it. Every president since Truman has said they have the right for military action without a formal declaration of war. So he's not doing anything different than other presidents.
To a member of the MAGA coalition who comes to you and says, Senator, this is not what I voted for. President Trump said he was going to end regime change wars. He was going to end military entanglements abroad. And this is the exact opposite of what he said he was going to do. What would you tell that person?
Well, what this president wants to do is he doesn't want forever wars. He's against forever wars. If you look at what he's trying to do, he's trying to make the world a safer place. What he did by destroying their nuclear weapons last year, what he's doing with this was destroying their ability to produce missiles. He's making the world a better place. What he did in Venezuela, he's making the world a better place. So if you look at this, Trump, he wants peace. But we've had presidents appease, coddle, and power ran for decades, and that's got to stop.
We just talked to your Democratic colleague, Senator Tim Kaine. He wants the Senate to return to vote on his war powers resolution, which would block further use of U.S. forces without congressional approval. What do you think of that?
I oppose it. I mean, I want this president to have the power to defend this country. I was disappointed. I can't imagine how crazy it was that Democrats wouldn't stand up to say their primary purpose was to defend the freedom, defend American citizens. So I want a president that has the power, which he has, to defend the freedom of this country. I want him to defend us. And that's exactly what he's doing. So I will oppose it.
So the president said that there could be potential loss of American life in these operations because that's what happens in war. Don't you think that if there is the potential loss of American life, that Congress should at least exercise and have some skin in the game to authorize the president to do what he's doing?
Well, clearly we're going to get briefings, and we should get briefings, and we should know exactly what's going on. They gave us a great briefing after Operation Midnight Hammer. They gave us a great briefing after what happened with down in Venezuela. With Maduro. So they're going to give us a briefing, and we ought to get a briefing. But the president has the right, and I'm glad he took the right to use military action.
I mean a vote, though, just a up or down. Obviously, you would approve of it, but don't you think Congress should be on record either supporting continued military action or not?
The president, every president since Truman has said he's got the right to use military force without a formal declaration of war. So this president is using the same authority other presidents have used. I agree with him. I'm glad he did it. It's going to make this world a safer place. The Iran has been a unbelievable, despicable, horrific regime for decades.
Senator Rick Scott of Florida, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jake.
Ahead on CNN, a historic day reshaping the Middle East as President Trump announces that the supreme leader of Iran has been killed The president of the United States calling on the Iranian people to overthrow what's left of their government. We're live on the ground in the region after this quick break.
More confirmation that it is Bibi in that plane. It appears to have avoided flying over countries in Balkans and Central Europe. If Benjamin Netanyahu actually escaped to Berlin, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I mean, the entire Western world is just nothing, dude. Stop sending me the link of whether or not I'm going to slide to my own fucking speech at Northwestern University, chatter. Yes, I'm going to be at Northwestern University. You're literally sending me the link of you're sending me the link on Twitter of a photo of me announcing that I'll be speaking at Northwestern University. What do you think? Do you think I will slide to my own speech? The answer is yes, I will be sliding to my own speech at Northwestern University. I will be speaking after sliding. Haig's statement basically echoes Trump's overnight video address, but it confirms that the U.S. military still aims to destroy Iran's missiles, its missile production capability, and its navy. Incredible. Yeah, maybe I wasn't aware, dude. Chill. What is this?
By saying this, war is an easy thing to talk about. There are not many people of the generation that remember it. The right honourable gentleman served with distinction in the last war. I never killed anyone, but I wore uniform. But I was in London in the Blitz in 1940, living in the Millbank Tower where I was born. Some different ideas have come in since. And every night I went down to the shelter in Thames House. Every morning I saw Dockland burning. 500 people were killed in Westminster one night by a landmine. It was terrifying. Aren't Arabs terrified? Aren't Iraqis terrified? Don't Arab and Iraqi women weep when their children die? Doesn't bombing strengthen their determination? What fools we are to live in a generation for which war is a computer game for our children and just an interesting little Channel 4 news item. Every member of Parliament tonight who votes for the government motion will be consciously and deliberately accepting the responsibility for the deaths of innocent people if the war begins, as I fear it will. Now, that's for their decision to take. But this is a quite unique debate in my parliamentary experience where we're asked to share responsibility for a decision we won't really be taking with consequences for people who have no part to play in the brutality of the regime which we are dealing with. And I finish with this. On October the 24th, 1945...
Down to Corbyn in the background. This is a perfect clip.
And the former Prime Minister from Bexley, Old Sidcup, will remember it. The United Nations Charter was passed. And the words of that charter are etched into my mind and move me even as I think of them. We, the people of the United Nations, determined to save future generations, succeeding generations, from the scourge of war, which twice in our lifetime has caused untold suffering to mankind. That was the pledge of that generation to this generation, and it would be the greatest betrayal of all if we voted to abandon the Charter and take unilateral action and pretend we were doing it in the name of the international community. And I shall vote against the motion.
Tony Benn's a fucking legend, a proper socialist, class trader of the best kind. Can even see a young Jezza in the background. Him not becoming leader of the Labour Party arguably led to Blair, Mendelsohn, and Starmer now. Yeah. J.D. Vance enjoys a Mountain Dew alongside Tulsi Gabbard as a pair preside over the war in Iran, while Donald Trump at his beach club in Florida announces Americans may die from it. 2011 Trump contradicting current President Trump.
Our president will
this is a classic one.
Start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected.
Like Donald Trump in comparison to Barack Obama, it makes Barack Obama look like a fucking lion, okay? It gives me no pleasure to report this, as I have been incredibly critical of Barack Obama's foreign policy agenda. Some of the examples that I use in terms of destabilization initiatives ruining countries is directly from the Obama administration's foreign policy. Libya obviously comes to mind. Having said that, with his dealings with Israel and specifically with Iran, Barack Obama is a fucking lion in terms of not being remotely as compromised as Donald Trump is by the cancerous entity that is also known as the nation state of Israel. It's just the truth. Okay? Straight up. And it is, and I repeat over and over again, it is a clear indication if not outright 100% proof that not a single Democrat has talked about going back to the JCPOA since Donald Trump became president and ripped it apart. Not a single one. This was the Obama administration's signature achievement of foreign policy, and Israel fucking hated it. And every single Democrat, every single top Democrat has never turned around and been like, why don't we go back to that? That was cool. That was good. Barack Obama's own vice president at the time became president of the United States of America and did not even remotely consider normalizing relations with Iran because he was a massive Zionist. That's why I say American foreign policy has always been deadly. It's always been devastating. And it's always also worked in line with Israel's interests in the region. But post Barack Obama, when Donald Trump became president, something changed. Israel got into the driver's seat and started driving the fucking car. And it never went back after Donald Trump. Joe Biden also continued that completely, entirely. The Democrats will nominate a presidential candidate in 2028 who vociferously condemns Trump's war with Iran by attacking Trump from the right for not finishing the job. Yeah. Did you speak about the possibility of China entering this conflict since they're so heavily connected to Iran through their oil sector? I haven't heard anything from China, and I don't think China gives a shit. I'm going to be honest. I think China thinks no matter who's in charge, whether it's Venezuela under the Delcy Rodriguez leadership, whether it be Iran under, whatever Trump command, whatever American puppet, they'll still get the oil. When Iraq was invaded and America took over the oil refineries in Iraq, they didn't stop selling oil to China. They kept selling oil to China at the same fucking rates that they were selling oil to China prior to the American takeover. They'll come out, they'll condemn the attack, and then that's it. Nothing else. The U.S. is a war addict. Throughout its over 240-year history, this is probably not even recent. It has been at war for all about 16 years. The U.S. has 800 overseas military bases in over 80 countries and regions. The U.S. is the main cause of international disorder, global turbulence, and regional instability. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Your goat is live right now. Is it fucking John Fetterman? I will Brian kill me. Oh, it's Dan Bongino. Fuck yeah.
But, the folks out there who are criticizing him, you have to understand, he gave them a long runway for diplomacy. He's been talking about since 2016 the fact that bombing and taking out and decapitating the regime is an option. He gave them a number of opportunities to take an off-ramp, and they just didn't take it. And now they're dead. And that's just the facts.
And Dan, all of us remember all too well the $1.4 billion in cash that was directly given to Iran during the Obama administration. These were funds that were unfrozen, and this was part of the Iranian negotiation at the time. After he failed to support the Green Revolution on the ground in 2009, which he conceded was a mistake. But there's been an attempt after attempt and flub after flub, and Trump said, I'm not going to kick this can down the road. I'm going to try to deal with this, and whatever anyone says, that is super bold.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any idea how many white papers in academia have been written about how to transform this cauldron into the Middle East into a more peaceful place? President Trump, I think he thinks in a basic kind of SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. The Iranians were just too stupid to take advantage of that. A basic game theory analyst will tell you when you're in a position of weakness like the Iranians were, they have no air defenses, they have a military designed solely for regime preservation, and they couldn't even do that for a day. What you try to do is you try to mitigate threats and take advantage of small opportunities when you're in a position of weakness. What the Iranians did, and now they're dead, their leadership, is they exacerbated the threats and they kicked away all the opportunities every time they came in front of them. They were not negotiating from any position of strength whatsoever. Laura, even their proxies have abandoned them. And we don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I'm sure there's going to be something that emerges from this, and we all hope it doesn't. But their proxies have been basically castrated. They had no card to play with, and they were acting like they had a full house. It was just bizarre, and now you see what happens.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth.
I guess this is why people are more pliant in general, because everybody just lies. Like the Democrats and liberal media lies, and they're like, well, this was a necessary evil, even if I don't like the process. And then the Republicans are just like, the Iranians hate negotiating, famously. Like, they hate it. They kept spitting in Donald Trump's face every time Donald Trump was like, please, I want to do the art of the deal with you. The Iranians were like, no, fuck you. Suck my dick. You're not the real president. Joe Biden is the real president. Just fucking make shit up. You know what I mean?
Not going to tolerate missiles that target Americans. I imagine what Secretary of War Hegseth is saying is missiles that target American military bases in the Middle East, because they did not have the power to hit the mainland United States, not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I know what surfaces in open source and what happens behind the scenes is typically different, but there's a relatively strong consensus, and it is all open source now, that the Iranians were just completely committed to enrichment. They were offered a path many times for a civilian nuclear program with proper guardrails, and they basically gave the double-barreled middle finger to anyone who suggested it and said, no, we're going to enrich and we're going to do
every part of this is a lie. Like, everything he's saying is a lie.
We're not even going to entertain guardrails. Well, if you want to enrich to the point the Iranians wanted to enrich, you want to weaponize it. You're not looking at powering, a bunch of heated pools in Iran. You're looking at it to create a weapon. And even after President Trump decimated their nuclear program before, again, this is what I was talking about before with the point of weakness, you would think at that point they would have made some major concessions and tried to mitigate some of the threats and take advantage of small opportunities. They did the exact opposite. They basically made no concessions at all. And President Trump and his team had basically had enough. You can only offer them food so many times before they throw it in your face. And now Dan, you see what happens.
And Dan, your message to some of our friends on the right who are saying, look, President Trump ran on no regime change, and now President Trump is doing regime change. You see the Democrats are picking up on that for 2026 themes. Your message to them tonight?
Well, it's incredible how the doomers, Laura, it hasn't even been 24 hours. It's happened at 3 a.m. It's not 3 a.m. Eastern time. Can you give the man a chance to cook a little bit? I mean, he just deposed and decapitated the entire upper-level infrastructure of the Iranian death to America regime. Maybe give the guy 5 minutes before you're already crapping on everything he did? I mean, who else has been able to work out over time? There'll be a bunch of papers and a bunch of talking heads, I'm sure, who will rip it apart. It's been 24 hours. Give the guy a chance. Where's he been proven wrong in the past? I thought World War III was going to break out after the Abraham Accords and after he moved the embassy and after he got Maduro. None of that happened. Give the guy a chance. He knows what he's doing. He's surrounded himself with more than competent people. Give it a chance. It's not even been 24 hours yet.
All right, Dan, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Busy news night, obviously. And Iran's leadership may be decapitated, but as Bongino just said, they're still capable of retaliatory strikes.
Just pan over here. We've got more interceptors coming off and more fire coming in here. So just stay with us here, John. You see these trails, and there's another one coming off. There's a bunch of them here, so just take a little wide shot. Yeah, we got more coming off.
Just get ready.
Just put me here so I can talk here. And you're going to see behind us, we got to move. There's a lot of incoming fire right now toward Tel Aviv. And so just stay with us. We got to go. Our security. So we're going to stay live with you, but we got to move toward hard cover here. The city's getting hit very hard.
Joining us is Michael Oren, former Israeli ambassador to the United States. He spent much of the day there in a safe room himself. Mr. Ambassador, we're going to get to what the death of Khamenei means for Israel in a moment. But first, tell us about these strikes today. Have they begun to slow down at all, or the frequency similar to what they were like 10 hours ago?
No, they're pretty stable, Laura. It's good to be with you in Tel Aviv. The last blast that killed an Israeli woman and wounded several dozen literally shook this building to its foundations. That's how powerful these missiles are. They are not firecrackers. They're carrying over 100 pounds of over 1,000 pounds of TNT, which is enough to not just to blow up a building, but to devastate an entire neighborhood. If you can imagine this. And Iran has thousands of these missiles, which means for Israel, it means that this war was a war of no choice. It's an existential fight. We cannot let Iran have that ballistic missile capacity.
Someone in the chat asked me, why are you watching Fox News? I got tired of watching the diluted talking points on CNN. It's the same talking points. One doesn't pussyfoot around it. So I went straight to the source.
There's very intensive fighting, or air defense fighting, over Tel Aviv. We've had one major impact in the city today.
The Iranian foreign minister is kind of reminding me of Baghdad Bob a little bit, saying, everything's fine here, don't worry.
Khamenei's great, yeah. He's a lot.
Americans and Israelis have failed to, access to hit their targets. And now everything is under control. And we, almost in less than 2 hours, we were able to start retaliation.
Now, Mr. Ambassador, they had, as Dan Bongino said, so many opportunities. President Trump wanted to settle this peacefully. He said so many times, and we have no reason not to believe him. And they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't give up that dream of enrichment of uranium. They wanted to keep it going. They said, oh, it's peaceful, it's just for energy, which nobody bought. Why do you think in the end they bet against President Trump here? That when he said he was going to do something, he put that red line down, he was going to do it?
Because the enrichment for the Iranian regime, like the ballistic missile system, like the support for terrorist groups in the Middle East and indeed throughout the world, it's in their DNA. Basically, the United States was asking this regime not to change itself, but to try to commit identity suicide. And Iran was going to be incapable of doing this. Regime was incapable of doing that. And so probably from the get-go, there was no chance of bridging those huge gaps between the American position and the Iranian position. Maybe the Iranians concluded, I think falsely, that last summer when they, during the 12-day war, when they fired some missiles at Qatar, the president immediately agreed to a ceasefire and actually tied Israel's hands. Maybe they drew false conclusions for that about this president's commitment to seeing through his promises to bring about a change in Iran, to come to the aid of the Iranian people who have been very courageous in going out and protesting against this regime at the cost of thousands and thousands of lives.
Well, this is going to be up to them to take it to the next level. After the military strikes are done, this is up to the Iranian people. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much. And with the Ayatollah and as many as 40 of the top Iranian officials dead, the key question does become, who is going to step in? Is there a true reformer waiting in the wings, or will the next guy be even worse? Now, some Iranian Americans and others are proposing the son of the Shah of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, who's lived in the United States since 1979. And today, Pahlavi posted on X. But does he have the support on the ground that would be necessary? That remains unclear tonight. Another name being floated is Ali Larijani, Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council.
This is the guy we just.
And he presents.
This is the guy who we just heard, who was like, "We will show our teeth to the Zionist entity. We will destroy them."
Late today, saying we will make the Zionist criminals and the shameless Americans regret their actions. The brave soldiers and the great nation of Iran will deliver an unforgettable lesson to the hellish international oppressors. Here to discuss is Jonathan Shanzer, Executive Director of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, and Ali Safavi from the National Council of Resistance of Iran. His brother was executed.
FDD is just straight up Israel, by the way. Foundation for Defending Democracy, formerly known as Emet, which is truth in Hebrew, is Pahlavi, straight up created by Benjamin Netanyahu.
Larijani?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to your show. When it comes to who will be the next leader of Iran, I think it is the Iranian people who will determine that. Today,
and it will be Reza Pahlavi.
Maryam Rajavi announced a provisional government based upon her 10-point plan, which calls for holding free elections in Iran no later than 6 months after the fall of the regime to elect a constituent assembly which will draft the future
What is her
constitution
listening
of
face?
the
I was
new
like, yeah.
republic. And of course, that will determine who the next leader of Iran
Her listening
will
face.
be. People of Iran will vote for that. That said, when it comes to Ali Larijani, he's a regime stalwart. He was the head of the Iranian state radio and television for 10 years. He was a parliament speaker for 2 terms, 8 years, and he was a member of the Supreme National Security Council for many years. So he indeed is one of the most hardline elements of the Iranian regime, and that is precisely why he was elevated to the position that he has today by Khamenei when he was thinking of what will happen if, in fact, some war breaks out. As to Reza Pahlavi, obviously he is a relic of the past. His father, people of Iran, threw out of Iran for his brutal dictatorship as his grandfather. So when it comes to any game plan for the future of Iran, Reza Pahlavi doesn't even have a seat on the bench. The Iranian people are not going to overthrow the mullah's regime to replace it with a dictator. As far as they are concerned, there's no difference between a crown and a turban.
Jonathan, your thoughts on succession here, because the worst thing that could happen, one of the worst things that could happen, is that you decapitate this regime, and another regime of future terrorists is in place.
Well, that's right. And I think right now, here's what I would look at. There are 3 different sets of people that have been cultivated by outsiders. We got the CIA, you got the Mossad, and you've got the Crown Prince, all cultivating people on the ground, hoping that they may be able to step in, but nobody is going to stick their neck out until they know this regime has fallen. The thing that I'm watching for right now, though, is whether Donald Trump is trying to pull off another Venezuela. In other words, decapitate the regime, as we have just seen today, 40 top leaders gone, and then try to find out who the pragmatists are a little bit further down the chain who might be willing to work with the United States and to keep things stable until a new regime can be put into place, voted in by the Iranian people. I don't know which way we go here, but I don't think we're going to see people stick their necks out right now, knowing that the regime is willing to kill.
Iranian Vice President Mohammad Reza Aref informed officials of plans to have him take charge of the country during wartime, according to a report by state media that suggests President Masoud Pezeshkian was either badly injured or killed. That's the other side of this, which is that they also did a decapitation for the fucking president for some goddamn reason. The president and the foreign minister are two of the most they're two of the most moderate politicians in the entire country. Stop acting tired, fat ass. Bitch, I've been up since fucking 6 a.m. and I've been live for the last 8 hours. It's 4:20, but I've been live for the last 8 hours. You know that, right? If you want to see how CBS is covering this, I can't wait to see how CBS is covering it.
Iran.
Tony
what do you
double
say to them tonight?
Tony double dick suck.
I join them in celebrating the death of the authoritarian regime that has been oppressing the Iranian people. But this is not the way to do it. And I think it's time to de-escalate. We should be entering into negotiations. I worry, though, that the president of the United States does not have a plan for what is next. Just like he didn't have a plan in Venezuela, where after he removed Maduro, he went ahead and started working with Maduro's apparatus and government. I worry that without a plan, a clear pathway forward, that either we're going to end up with American troops on the ground, boots on the ground in Iran, and
what
be
the fuck does that have to do with
attacks
anything?
from terrorist groups that have been proxies to the Iranian regime for decades now. Or we're going to see the president turn around and cooperate with the apparatus that's already there.
All right, we shall see. U.S. Army veteran and Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will be back in just a moment with the latest developments on what is a historic day for Iran, for the Middle East, and for the U.S. as well. Stay with us.
Amazing.
Just as the United States hasn't thought that through, I don't think the Iranian opposition or dissidents in Iran have either.
Robin Wright, thank you so much. As always, great to have you. Coming up, why now? We have new reporting on the threat that the Trump administration claims forced their hand.
Oh my God. Here's an outright lie from the administration that Iran was moments away from a nuclear weapon. Here's an outright lie from the Trump administration that we will report uncritically that Iran was actually going to attack Israel. The attack was imminent. Yeah, this is what it looks like when you have nukes, okay?
'Cause sometimes I look in her eyes, and that's where I find a glimpse of us. When you're out.
Yeah, you want to know what it looks like? You want to know what it looks like when you got fucking nuclear sovereignty? This is what it looks like.
My mind. 'Cause sometimes I look in her eyes, and that's where I find a glimpse. When you're out.
Yeah, I invaded Iraq because it have nuclear. Why not North Korea? Are you crazy? They have nuclear. This meme is so fried, dude. It's so fried. Here's also John Mersheimer straight up saying the quiet part out loud, which I agree with this assessment.
Nuclear-armed Iran would bring stability to the region. I think there's no question that a nuclear-armed Iran would bring stability to the region because nuclear weapons are weapons of peace. They're weapons of
I don't agree with that part.
Deterrence. They have hardly any offensive capability at all. And if Iran had a nuclear deterrent, there's no way that the United States or Israel, for that matter, would be threatening to attack Iran now. In the same way that if Saddam had had nuclear weapons in 2003, the United States would not have invaded Iraq. And if Libya had nuclear weapons in 2011, the United States would not have gone to war against Libya. So I think that if you had a Middle East where other states besides Israel, and this of course includes Iran, had a nuclear deterrent, it would be a more peaceful region. Well,
camera quality makes it look like it's the 90s.
It's possible there'll be some proliferation. I wouldn't bet against the fact that maybe Turkey or Saudi Arabia would acquire nuclear weapons, but people have been predicting widespread proliferation for decades now, and it's never happened. But I think there are two reasons that it wouldn't happen. One is that the Iranians would not be able to blackmail anybody in the neighborhood with their nuclear weapons. We've created this myth in this country over the past few years in talking about Iran that any country that acquires nuclear weapons can blackmail other countries or use those nuclear weapons for offensive purposes. We have a lot of theory and a huge amount of empirical evidence, 67 years now, which show that no country with nuclear weapons can blackmail another country as long as somebody is protecting that country or it has its own nuclear weapons. And this leads to the second reason. The United States is going to extend its nuclear umbrella over Saudi Arabia and over Turkey, the way it extended it over Germany and Japan during the Cold War. And we will make it perfectly clear to the Iranians that they cannot blackmail anybody. So there'll be no great incentive for Turkey or for Saudi Arabia to acquire nuclear weapons.
And as you know, when you're involved in contact sports, it can be very dangerous. And so they live in a dangerous world. And on top of that, nuclear weapons are the ultimate deterrent, right? It doesn't get any better than nuclear weapons. And of course, this is why states pursue nuclear weapons. I believe that if Iran had nuclear...
Iranian state media confirms this. Islamic Republic state media has confirmed that one of Ayatollah Khamenei's daughters, his son-in-law, and one of his grandchildren have been killed. I mean, this also makes it probably more likely that Khamenei is also being killed. But find a man who loves you like John Mersheimer loves nuclear weapons. I mean, he's right. He's right. Mr. Realpolitik is right. Israeli minister invokes Amalek, effectively a call to murder 90 million Iranians. Itamar Ben-Gvir, blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven, you shall not forget. Oh my God. The article was posted and deleted. It don't matter. It's very likely true. And even if it's not, what
military
dynamic
has been
changes
building
here?
the kind of force not seen here in decades. And today,
we learned why. Hundreds of targets struck
I was
inside.
so confused why this force was being amassed in the region, and I'm shocked.
Throughout the region, including right here in downtown Tel Aviv. Smoke rose above the Iranian capital this morning, the first explosions announcing to the world the war had begun. American and Israeli forces targeted Iranian air defenses, missile and drone launch sites, and regime buildings. Hours later, the extraordinary announcement the supreme leader had been killed. This morning, in a powerful surprise attack, said Israeli Prime Minister
Which
Benjamin
here at
Netanyahu,
CBS Israeli News, we will not be talking about that.
in the heart of Tehran. U.S. Central Command released video showing cruise missiles firing from an American warship and fighter jets taking off. In a joint operation it described as the largest regional concentration of American military firepower in a generation. The Israeli military saying it struck more than 500 targets alone across Iran. Iran says dozens of people were killed at a girls' school, among at least 200 people reportedly killed so far in the airstrikes. Trump announced the military action on his social media channel.
We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated.
Iran's retaliation was swift and far-reaching, targeting U.S. bases and allies in more than half a dozen countries across the Middle East.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God!
Cell phone footage captured explosions near the headquarters of the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet in Bahrain. And as night fell, Iranian drones slammed into residential high-rises.
Bro, I'm losing my mind. They just... what can they be getting out of the Bahrain naval base? Because in the last 15 hours, they have not stopped bombing the Bahrain naval base, dude. They're still bombing the Bahrain naval base. Okay? And it's like every 30 minutes, there's another fucking swarm of Shahed drones bombing the same crater that is the Bahrain naval base. And every other 30 minutes, we see people from Bahrain filming it going, Ya Ali, Allahu Akbar. Do they think Bahrain is Tel Aviv? What is happening? It's like they just hate the fucking Bahrain base. They hate it so much. They're like, nah, fuck those guys. Honestly, that's the worst one. You got Al Udeid in Qatar, okay? You got numerous targets. You got numerous targets in Dubai, UAE. But honestly, fuck Bahrain's military base. All my homies hate that base in particular. And now they've blown up the international airport too. They're hitting the airport in, I think they're hitting the airport in the UAE as well. It's the head of the 5th Fleet, so Navy Command and Control. They just keep pummeling Bahrain, bro. I don't know. The 5th Fleet in Bahrain is home to all U.S. mine countermeasures, ships, and helicopters, which would be needed to clear mines if they decide to close the Strait of Hormuz. To be fair, I don't think Bahrain is controlling the media output. Israel could be getting bombarded worse than we know. Nah, I don't. I mean, it's definitely yes and no. Yes, Israel's getting bombarded worse than we know, but it's also not getting bombarded as aggressively as Bahrain, because there are so many fucking people in Israel, brother. They would not be able to shut down the internet. Like there would be hand cams. Like there'd be fucking phone footage, just like last time. You know what I mean?
Limited, just given the obvious risks of sending the Secretary of State into a potential conflict zone.
As the day begins, IDF has begun an additional strike wave targeting the ballistic missile array and the aerial defense systems belonging to the Iranian terror regime.
Without any press, which is a departure from precedent. Now that those strikes have happened and for now do not appear to be limited.
Months ago issued a report stating that Iran could, if it chose to do so, develop in 8.5 years up to 60 intercontinental ballistic missiles. So if you're the
bro,
president,
how many hours do you want to just sit there and fucking lie? Like, do they not get bored just for the fuck of it? Like have, Mohammed Marandi on or something, like Have like one loyalist on or something. Just throw it in the pile. Have some fucking fun with it, you know? It's just literally Jake Tapper interviews virtually every human being that has salivated at the prospect of nuking Iran. Cycle in like one guy who's just like, I actually don't think we should go to war with Iran. Just one. Fucking one, dude. You don't got one guy? You're not even interested? You don't want to hear from any other voices at all? He just fucking sits there. Get a guy from Bahrain on. Get a guy from Bahrain on. Be like, yo, what's up with your people, bro? Why are you guys enjoying the show like it's fucking fireworks? You know what I mean? One guy? Nope. Here is our American Enterprise Institute hand-selected Arab guy who's going to tell us that Iranians have horns in their heads and deserve death and destruction. Here is now up next, we're going to have the Foundation for Defending Netanyahu, FDD's very own. It's actually not Benjamin Netanyahu wearing a wig and a mustache and glasses, although he does kind of look like Benjamin Netanyahu wearing a wig and a mustache and glasses, but it's totally a different guy. He's tuning in from Berlin. Different guy, though. Yes, he sounds a lot like he has a Philadelphia accent, but it's not Benjamin Netanyahu. Totally different guy. Every fucking interview is like, oh, dude, Iran was like seconds away from ICBMs. They told me. They were like, we're making the best ICBMs, actually. What is this? Image of the Year award candidate. We have more in the next few days. The minute Iranian missile obliterates the Jewish Ministry of War in the heart of occupied Jaffa, Palestine. The one thing I picked up on as hours have passed in this war, less and less talk about the Iron Dome being effective. Yeah, I have noticed that. But I also have noticed that by the way, the casualty numbers are fucking crazy. This is the first day. And according to, the one dead, 121 others injured in Israel amid war with Iran. That is the first day. That is crazy. That's not even the full first day. They are throwing a lot more. They're throwing a lot more fucking munitions into the pile. And on top of that, they're just blowing up the Bahrain naval base, which is priority target number one. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe it's because of the damming operations in the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe that's what it is. That kind of makes sense. Because they love blowing up Bahrain. What is this? Khamenei alive? Titty Respecter says, yo, they didn't actually get me. Hop on Fort. He just messaged me. Breaking, several heavy explosions in Tehran now. Well, we missed it. Hop on Fort, big dog. CBS News guest, a senator who wants to bomb Iran, a congressman who wants to bomb Iran, a general who bombed Iran, a dissident who wants Iran bombed, and an NSC official who wants Iran bombed. All perspectives covered. I'm glad they got every angle. It's the same with fucking CNN too, by the way, which is why I was like, how much more pro-Israel can CNN even get? New Washington Post, MBS lobbied Trump with Netanyahu to bomb Iran. Behind the scenes, a lobbying alliance of Saudi Arabia's MBS and Israel's Netanyahu urged Trump to level a major strike against Iran in the days before the president's decision, even as Riyadh publicly advocated for diplomacy. I don't know if I fully believe that. And I am not a fan of MBS, as you guys know. But that seems a little bit of fakery to me. We'll see. Do you think Israel is letting some missiles go through to justify more support from the U.S. like they did on October 7th? Brother, what more support does Israel need? First of all, Israel doesn't need support. At this point, if people in the Western world watch Tel Aviv get fucking cratered, that's not going to cause them to go, oh my God, I feel so sad for Israel. Israel started it. People are going to go, oh, that's really sad. That's just so bad. Oh, well, that's going to be the fucking response. No, also, let's be real. Why are we even acting like we need democracy here? There's no democratic process. Who the fuck said yes to go into war at the behest of Israel? Nobody did. Israeli police are idea of blocking people to flee. Breaking, Israeli settlers are trying to flee and Israeli police are blocking roads and keeping them as human shields. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, by the way, this sell, tough sell, but they're doing it anyway. President Trump is ending the forever war that Iran has waged against America for the last 47 years. Wow. Thank you, Mr. President. Dude, sometimes you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. Okay? That's right. Donald Trump is ending the forever wars by starting the forever wars, but actually that forever war is going to be ended by the start of the forever war. Thank you. You fucking did it. I mean, this one got 600 likes. Okay? They're not, even their base ain't eating this shit up. So I will say another thing. Okay? I will say another thing. The Persian diaspora, the Iranian diaspora, has that same like Zionist attitude that I think will cook them in the long run, where they're just objectively fucking annoying. Where they just straight up will be like, no, you have to understand, like, if you don't fucking slaughter my grandparents, I will kill myself. Like, you have to slaughter my grandparents right now. You have to blow up their home. They got bad fucking vibes. They have to go. Like, every time there's someone of the Iranian diaspora on television, they literally are like, oh, you don't care about me. You don't care about me. Just like you said Israel was bad. And it's like, how does anyone unironically watch this goober? They watch, well, ask your mom. She watches with one hand on the mouse and the other hand flicking her own fucking bean. Okay? What do you think the next few days is going to look like now that Khamenei is presumably dead? Do you think the IRGC is going to go all out now? They're getting close to a point of nothing to lose? Maybe. I don't know. I assume, yes. I think America is going to get infinitely more ruthless going forward, though. Because, let's be real, if Israeli intelligence is not great, okay? Israeli intelligence is greatly exaggerated. And I do think, what is this? People carry their dogs from a damaged apartment building after an Iranian missile strike in Tel Aviv. What, you think that's me carrying Kaya? I'm actually in Tel Aviv? That's you, bro. I'm here. That's the Israeli injured undergoing plastic surgery. Charlie Kirk being more leftist than some chatters in here? Yeah, I know. This is insane. Regime change will result in a bloody civil war, killing hundreds of thousands and creating another massive Muslim refugee crisis. Topping a leader? Bruh. What do you mean, topping a leader, bro? Bro said topping a leader. He's looking up at us right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, topping a leader is never as easy as you think. And trust me, I have tried topping Donald Trump quite a bit. And he has a whole lot of ass. Okay. As you guys notice, as I'm nearing 9 hours, I'm like becoming more delirious, and therefore things are becoming funnier.
I'm gay and Lebanese.
Topping a leader is never as easy as you think. It almost always results in further involvement, a civil war, and chaos. Resist this. Leave it to the throat goat? Jesus Christ.